Go to hardafseltzer.com. Get some 8% seltzer shipped right to your house. Oh. The peach, the lemon lime, the strawberry shortcake, and the blue raspberry. No carbs, no sugars, no gluten if you give a shit about that. We are live in over 100 stores in Tennessee. More just opened up. Go to hardafseltzer.com today and check your store locator or order them right to your house.
Live from our studios in Austin, Texas, this is Drinkin Bros Fake News with Ross Patterson, Dan Holloway, Papa G with the traffic,
How you feel?
Not good.
Yeah?
field reporter Hot Bob, and Delco Dan with sports. Welcome to Fake News.
Yeah, welcome to Drinkin Bros Fake News, everybody. Bringing you the realest, fakest news of the week. We will start with some real news. D'Anthony Holloway and I will be in Tampa Bay next weekend for the Tampa Bay Rowdies
Technically,
game.
we'll be in St. Petersburg.
Why do they call it Tampa Bay? Why do the team names Tampa Bay?
Why do they call the 49ers San Francisco 49ers?
They were digging for gold.
No,
gold.
I understand where the phrase originally came from, but they're in Santa Clara, which is about an hour south.
Well, now they are.
Tampa Bay is the water.
Yeah, it is, right? It's just the water. I think we're on the water.
Yeah, we are right on the water. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're on the eastern inlet of St. Pete.
Okay.
And then Tampa Bay is right across the way there.
Well, whatever, dude. We're going to be at the Tampa Bay Rowdies game on Saturday nights, May 27th, next weekend. You guys are welcome to join us. As you know, our beloved Hard AF Seltzer is the official sponsor of the Tampa Bay Rowdies, as well as the best record in Major League Baseball, the Tampa Bay Rays, which we will be at on Sunday. That is the primetime or prime morning game on Fox. They're doing that at 11:30 a.m. May 28th. We will be at that game. We'll go ahead and tell you the sections we're in. Tickets are cheap if you want to join us. I don't know, 20, 30 bucks for this type of stuff. Tampa Bay Rowdies on that Saturday nights, May 27th. We will be seated in MF 7. That does not stand for motherfucker 7. That stands for midfield 7. We will be there for the Rowdies game, so grab some tickets and we'll all hang there. And then Sunday morning against the Dodgers, Tampa Bay Rays against the Dodgers, we are in section 110. So you can buy tickets there, and we'll be getting rocked starting at 11 a.m. boozing on Hard AF Seltzers. So join us if you're in the Tampa area at either game. We'd love to have you there.
That's where we'll be at. Mm-hmm. Now, what we'll be on is a combination of booze and drugs, probably cocaine, right?
Well, it's Florida.
Yeah.
You know, that's usually the Florida thing there. So there is a chance of snow in the forecast down in Florida. And that's Florida, baby. There's nothing you can do about it, all right? Doesn't matter if it's Miami or Tampa. Them's the rules. Usually people are raging around us. So have fun. Be safe. And we'll see you next weekend, kids. Let's get into the news, shall we? We'll lead off with the John Durham reports. Bombshell. This fucking thing. Holy cow, man. Special counsel John Durham concluded that the FBI should have never launched a full investigation into connections between Donald Trump's campaign and Russia during the 2016 election, according to the report compiled over 3 years by Trump administration appointee and released on Monday. Durham's 300-plus page report also states that the FBI used raw, unanalyzed, and uncorroborated intelligence to launch the Operation Crossfire Hurricane. I would sue if I was the Rolling Stones on that one. That's just me.
Why?
That's one of their big songs.
You know? Oh, I don't know.
You're caught in a crossfire hurricane. Investigation into Trump and Russia, but used a different standard when weighing concerns about alleged election interference regarding Hillary Clinton's campaign. The special counsel, however, did not recommend any new charges against individuals or wholesale changes about how the FBI handles politically charged investigations, despite strongly criticizing the agency's behavior. Now, that one I couldn't figure out at all. So you come out with this report and you say, all right, Obama was involved, Biden was involved, Hillary was involved, all of this was made up. There was no collusion. There was no prostitution. Remember the Steele dossier with the prostitutes pissing on the Russian prostitutes in the bed and all that other stuff?
Yeah.
Why isn't no one being charged?
Well, because technically none of it is illegal, right? It's just like Congress trading stocks using insider trading. It's not technically illegal.
But for ruining the country, essentially, and putting this Russia, Trump, collusion, I mean, the amount of money this costs taxpayers for what? You're looking at 7 years now? I mean, this just came out 7 years later now. And the division that it caused in the country over this shit is fucking madness, and there should be a price to pay for this.
Sure, yeah, but there's no laws technically being broken.
Well, you could look at it, if the DNC was paying for a fake report to smear a presidential campaign, it didn't end up affecting it because Trump ultimately won. Couldn't you be charged with that?
Charged with what crime exactly?
For making up a complete story, selling that to the media, passing that off as real.
That's politics, baby.
But couldn't you sue then? Like, wouldn't Donald Trump be able to sue for this?
Public figures suing others for defamation, that's not an easy sell.
Just happened right now. Trump just got convicted of it 2 weeks or last week.
But it's because
that's defamation for a woman that he's never even met.
To be fair, she's not much of a public figure.
That's what I say. But the jury disagreed with that.
Never in the history of American politics, or probably any politics in any country, has one politician been able to sue another for misrepresenting the reality of a situation. That's not a thing. And even if it was, it would be a civil charge and not a crime, right? So the FBI wouldn't have any purview there. I think the reason Durham released this report was to lay everything bare and show just how corrupt the FBI is, and not just how corrupt the FBI specifically is, but how corrupt they are and how in bed they are with leftists in this country, right?
And I understand that, but at this point, after reading this, there's no reason you shouldn't get rid of the FBI and the CIA altogether at this point.
We should get rid of the entire federal government. It doesn't do it. Like, if the federal government evaporated tomorrow, how would it affect your life?
If there was, a hurricane or something like that, you're still going to need federal aid to come in. And
the federal government does not have money. They extract money from places and then invest it and bail people out and buy assets and stuff like that and get us $31 trillion in debt. But they don't have money. They extract our money, right? So in California, for example, there are unincorporated areas that have MOUs with incorporated areas, a memorandum of understanding, where they provide services like fire rescue and shit like that for counties that don't have it, particularly in like the Inland Empire area. That is a negotiation that happens between two local governments, and it's the exact same thing that would happen if there was a natural disaster in one part of the country. The rest of the country would figure out how to go fix that shit, and they would do it on a budget because it's their money, and it's not being siphoned off by the federal government, right? And just spent wildly however they see fit. That's the way this is all supposed to work.
Supposed to work, but it never will. I don't trust the states to make the right decisions. Right now, just take California, for example, and this reparations bullshit. Somebody paid for that committee, and they're still paying these salaries for this fake committee that is not going to do anything, ever, but get up in front of people and say, you know what, we're going to pay black people $1.2 million in reparations. That is a waste of money by the state of California. So I think every single state is going to waste money in dumb ways. Therefore, somebody's got to be in control of it. I mean, Texas makes horrific decisions with their money.
So you're saying that things happen inefficiently at the lower level, and your expectation is that they're going to get more efficient as they go higher? That doesn't make sense.
None of it makes sense.
Yeah, but don't say none of it makes sense, because you just made a very specific statement that because states can't be trusted to do the right thing, that you should elevate it to the federal government. That is not at all how any of this works.
I think if there was no federal government with some money in place there, or a way to extract money from people to try to do things with, there's no way the states on their own would be able to do it. Otherwise, there would have been a succession a long time ago. One of these states would have seceded. Texas certainly can't fucking do it.
That's 100% not true.
Why?
Because Texas is a donor state. They spend more in federal money than they take in federal money, which means, yes, they absolutely have the resources to take care of anything that happens here.
But why wouldn't they take care of the electrical grids?
Because they're incompetent.
Well, that's what I'm saying. All of these states are incompetent.
Yeah, but you don't. What happens when you scale an incompetent business? It gets more incompetent the bigger it gets, and you have less efficiency and more waste. It's fucking stupid to go higher. You go lower.
I don't know how you would. How would you do it then? On a state like Texas, if we can't do it in this state, there's 30 million people here. Mm-hmm. How would you go lower than the state then?
Lower, I guess it depends on what you mean, like what we're dealing with here. Like the energy grid?
Yeah.
So right now, the reason that nobody gets held accountable is because people see that there's one of two options. It's either some guy in a wheelchair or a Democrat, right? But that's not reality. It's not reality. The way to deal with that is for small communities to come together and buy solar panels, right? Elon Musk is running a deal on them right now, as a matter of fact, where you can pay nothing for them and get them installed in your house, and you end up selling energy back to the government or whomever's in charge of that stuff. So that's how you deal with it. You deal with it by solving problems locally. You never deal with it by making the problem bigger at the federal level. I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
I understand, but that is not a thing. Solar panels, dude. I've got two neighbors who have been on back order for like 2.5 years for solar panels. We're just not there yet as a country.
Well, they should check with a different company.
Who is it? I mean, because Elon Musk, let's face it, his track record isn't great when it comes to saying, hey, I'm going to put something in your fucking garage. I've been on a 2.5-year wait list for a goddamn truck.
SunPower Corp. SunPower Corporation. It's sunpowercorp.com. They'll get you squared away. I just had a couple of friends get their shit installed, and it took less than a month.
Okay. So what's preventing you from doing it at your house?
I just don't give a shit.
Right.
Like I'm not. Well, it's not. I don't care about any of this. So if things go sideways and the energy grid fails en masse, I'm not just going to stay at my house, right? I'm going somewhere to go do stuff. But for the vast majority of people, that's how they would deal with it. And beyond all that, beyond the specifics, in principle, it's wrong. Like you can't call yourself a conservative and say you think that the federal government should handle these problems, because that's not a conservative.
That's not it at all. What I'm saying is I feel we are out of options that are – I think as Americans we are out of options. This is the system we're under, and we're not getting the fuck out of it anytime soon. You can say, hey, we shouldn't have government. It's not going to happen. You can say act locally, think globally. That's not going to happen either. It just isn't.
I mean, it happens every day. It's happening all the time. People are concentrating more and more of their energy at the local level right now. That's why all these politicians are scrambling to fucking grab more control, because people are starting to find local places to buy food. They're starting to reject en masse proclamations from the government and shit like that, and they can feel the power slipping through their fingers. That's why they're trying to cinch down their grip on it.
So in your estimation, when would this happen where everybody's going to get together and actually do this?
It'll happen around the time of the central bank digital currency, right? CBDC. So when the U.S. government decides to make a U.S. digital coin, it'll happen then, because people will see their your security, financial security, will immediately evaporate when that happens. And if you don't believe me, look at the Canadian trucker protest from last year. Anybody that was involved in that, anybody that gave over $20 to that organization that was in Canada, had their bank accounts frozen by the federal government of Canada. Right?
I get it, but did Canadians riot and overthrow the government?
No, Canadians are pussies. They don't have guns, but we do.
I understand that, but I think most Americans, I would say, I would put it at about 80%, live off of convenience and comfortability and not changing much in their day-to-day lives.
Maybe. I don't really give a fuck what other Americans do, though. I'm not going to do that.
I know you're not going to, but then you got to convince 330 million other people.
I don't have to convince anybody. I'm going to continue doing whatever the fuck I want.
Well, you don't want to pay taxes, right? So did you stop paying taxes?
It's not that. No, it's not that. I don't mind paying taxes if it's reasonable. Like, I like having roads to drive on, right? But I think it's not the government that builds roads, right?
Fucking bootlicker, you use roads.
Yeah, it's not the government that builds roads. It's private contractors. So, it takes a little time to wean us off of this sort of thing, but you can convince enough people to, in an unincorporated area, you can get a road built right now by a private contractor, just like the government pays them. Why is the government the middleman and telling me how I can and can't travel? You know what I mean?
Because that's the way it works now. And unless you got your entire community together and said, hey, like where you live, would you go door to door and ask everybody to go unincorporated?
No, well, Driftwood is unincorporated.
Okay.
So I don't have to.
But when you leave Driftwood, you got to drive to work and everywhere else. Then you got to convince that other town and everywhere else, unless you just want to stay there forever.
No, I don't. They'll pay their taxes and I'll stop, right? Like, I'm not going to pay for shit I'm not going to use. That's the point. And it's the reason that it's supposed to work like that is because government will find ways to I guess, establish its own existence, to perpetuate its own existence. And the way to do that is to continue doing projects and shit like that, right? Like, here's all the things the government did for you this year. The only thing I want to see on that list is nothing, right? Like, the government should be doing nothing for you. Why would it? That doesn't even make any sense. Why would the government be doing anything for you? Like, there was an issue with this teacher that got fired in Florida this past week for showing a book to kids, and the book's called something about I am gay or some stupid shit like that, or this book is gay. This book is gay is what it's called. And inside the book, it tells kids how to find people to have sex with on the internet. There's literally like a checklist of how to do that stuff. That's what happens when the government is involved in things, right? And the lady said that once you send your kids to a public school, you lose your rights as a parent. That was exactly what she said. And I say that because it's an extreme example, but it shows the attitude of people that work in government. It is that we are in control, right? And as soon as you interact with one of our properties, whether it happens to be the border, which, the government has a 50-mile easement on the border, on the entire federal border. It's a 50-mile easement. Things like that. Public schools, roads, the banking institution, because it's backed by backed by the Treasury, the FDIC. All of those things, somehow you are supposed to not negotiate with the government, but obey the government. That's not the system of government we have. We negotiate. We don't obey, right? It's supposed to be a contract. So I'm not interested in trying to convince other people whether that's right or wrong. I'm going to continue living the way I want to, right? And if I butt heads with the government sometimes, that's going to be fine with me, right? Because my principles are quite a bit more important to me than my convenience. And if it's not going to be like that for other people, that's their problem. They can be fucking slaves if they want. Okay.
But I mean, even with that book, that was DeSantis who got rid of that. So he just signed that bill in. Well, that's the governor of the states, right?
Yeah, but that's I wouldn't say that it's wrong that he did that, but it's wrong that it came to that, because there shouldn't be. Why would there be government schools in the first place?
Well, there shouldn't be, but if it's a public school, that's where their funding comes from.
Sure, but why would there be government schools in the first place, right? There shouldn't be public schools. That doesn't make sense. Like if a public school fails, what happens?
If a public school fails, then they'll get bailed out by the states.
And if a private school fails, what happens?
Well, it's private, and you have to pay to go there. And that's the difference. Public school is free. Private schools you pay for.
I'm sorry, public school is not free.
It is. My kids go to public school. I don't pay anything.
Yeah, you do. You pay taxes. You pay property. You pay elevated property taxes so your kids can go to school.
But if I didn't pay those property taxes, then that school wouldn't even exist in the first place. If I wanted to send them to private school, it would be more expensive than my property taxes.
That's right. And our data shows that absent those property taxes that pay for public schools, the amount of money that you spend personally on your children's education would drop by about 40%. And you would have some say in how it goes. So a private school that teaches kids stupid shit gets shut the fuck down, and all of those kids get absorbed by a school that's doing the right things. You get to choose, right? And that's what this is all about.
You would if that was a possibility.
It is a possibility. Right now, you could take your kids out of public school and put them in private school today if you want.
Be too expensive.
No, how do you figure? It's like $7,500 a month on average in Texas. I'm sorry, $7,500 a year.
No, that is not. Even at the preschool, it's not that.
Well, that's what the data suggests. Okay.
The data is incorrect. I mean, I'm telling you, as a parent with kids in
There might
school,
be
that's
some
how much
dog
it
shit
costs.
ones. Yeah, my kid's
Yes.
daycare is $1,400 a month.
Correct. There's some you can send them for $50 if you want, but I mean,
Right.
you're getting a fucking dog shit education there, and it's going to be run by people who are getting that money, because then you can't afford to pay the teachers there, and then they're just kind of watching kids run around in circles all day.
Yeah, well, you know the reason for that right now. It's 9,600, not 7,500 is the average in Texas. But the reason for that is because primarily it's affluent people sending their kids there. If it was everyone, then there would be competition and the prices would come down, right? But there is no competition in public school. It's based on where you live.
It is, and whether or not the schools exist. Because right now, take the area we live in, it's so overpopulated. They're constantly building new schools here, because they don't even have enough rooms to put these kids in, let alone build a private school. I mean, I've talked to Tim Kennedy about it off air, about the difficulty that went into building his, and it's expensive as shit. Nobody has that kind of money, especially in inflation and everything else. I mean, you're miles away from that right now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, certainly we're not in a good spot right now at all. But accepting that we're not in a good spot and saying that's just how it's going to be and continuing to perpetuate that cycle is fucking stupid. At some point, somebody's going to have to do something about it. Some people that have kids are going to have to start pulling their kids out of public schools. People that are paying an exorbitant amount of property taxes. I don't have to because of my VA disability rating. I don't pay. I pay like maybe half of what I'm supposed to. But people that actually have skin in that game are going to have to decide to stop doing it. But it's not, to your point before about when people are going to do stuff, when it would be an apex moment, if you want to call it that, it'll be when the digital currency comes out, because then they'll see how volatile or how unsecure their financial system really is, right? Because it's unsecure in ways that we can see right now, which is that big banks get bailed out, and they buy up smaller banks. So you're fucking dealing with that shit. And the Treasury can print money whenever it wants, without congressional authority. It can just literally, Biden could sign a bill today, sign an EO today, and print $1 trillion coin if he wanted to. He could print $1 trillion bill or whatever the fuck and pay that toward the interest and avoid this whole debt ceiling bullshit. They could do that. And what it would do was add $1 trillion more to the amount of currency we have in circulation, and it would make your money worth less, right?
Yeah.
They can do that without you having any say in that, and that's just the way it is. So that's the federal solution to this stuff. It's to make the problem bigger. We're $31 trillion in debt. So, people don't see it, though. People don't see it. They whine about the debt. They whine about recession. They whine about inflation and all this shit, but they're not doing a goddamn thing to stop it,
No, and look, I've always said this too on this show. We are who we vote for. So everything that's happening right now, it's apparently what 81 million people wanted. So it is what it is.
Probably not true, but yeah.
Probably not true, but it is what it is, and we are who we vote for, and we have been that way for 250 years. So. Yeah, I don't see it changing anytime soon. And with 330 million people in this country, and I've said this a million times on this show, there's no way you're even going to get half those people to agree. We can't even barely get half of them to vote.
Yeah.
So
I think, what do we have, 35%? What was the amount, the total amount? Well, that's population. So
Trump got the most votes of any sitting president. That should be probably 75 or 76 million.
It was 76, but I think like the total, the amount of people who can vote.
The 2020,
I think it was 65%, right?
66.8% of people who could vote voted in the 2020 election.
Yeah, I mean that's
that's humongous. Actually,
which is a sad commentary. I mean, it's kind of fucked. I think
there's still 34% of the country that didn't even fucking vote.
So you can check this. I believe it's Australia. It could be one of the Scandinavian countries, but they shut down. Like, if one, it's a federal holiday. The voting day is a federal holiday. Two, they shut down bars and shit like that. You can't do anything except for vote that day.
Oh, and you know what else they do in Australia, by the way?
Until the polls are closed. And they have like a 97% turnout typically.
They serve fucking food and shit at the voting stuff like that in Australia. Whereas we're trying to hand out like bottles of water from being handed out at our fucking voting booths and shit
well,
like
you
that.
can hand out bottles of water as long as you're not wearing a Biden or a fucking Trump shirt.
Correct.
But if you're wearing a Trump shirt or a Biden shirt, somehow being a decent human being
Right.
is against the law at that point, right?
Because there's so many people in line to vote that haven't made up their minds yet.
Yeah, they haven't made up their mind, and it's like the first motherfucker that gives me a bottle of water is getting my vote, dude.
I'm fucking
it's so
voting
fucking
for.
stupid. But I want to come back to this Durham story because, yeah, you're right. The CIA and the FBI should go away, but it's the same as our financial institution. People have too much skin in the game. They're too worried about what it might feel like to not have those institutions. Like the FBI is out there protecting us from something.
Well,
They're out there tasing dogs and fucking harassing pro-lifers. That's what they're really doing with their time, and conspiring against a duly elected president, by the way. So just to recap, Hillary Clinton paid, using DNC money, a foreign intelligence agent, which is illegal right off the bat. That's a crime. So if anybody should, in this whole thing, could get prosecuted for something, it would be Hillary Clinton for paying for the Steele dossier. That is illegal.
Correct,
right?
and that's what I said at the top. Like,
but she did this in order to fabricate a story linking Trump to Russia. None of it was true. Not one word of it was true. None of the pissing on prostitutes, although that would have been dope. To be honest,
it was hilarious.
That would not have affected me voting for him in any way.
No.
Still would have voted for Trump if he's peeing on prostitutes. That is a transaction between two fucking adults.
Yeah.
Japanese businessmen have been doing it forever.
And we don't kink shame here.
No.
We never have, never will.
The Obama administration, the FBI, this is the biggest revelation from the Durham report. The Obama administration, the FBI, the Director of National Intelligence, and the entire intelligence community was briefed on the fact that Hillary Clinton had done this and that it was fabricated. They knew that it was fake during the campaign, before Trump got elected. They knew for a fact that it was fake. They leveraged then the DOJ/FBI and the intelligence community against the Trump campaign anyways, even after he was elected and then after he became president. The intelligence agency, the FBI, continued to pursue this investigation, which they knew to be false. They knew for a fact that it was false. They were briefed by these people that it was false. And Congress tried to impeach him anyways. All this stuff happened. This is bigger. This is the biggest political scandal in the history of this country.
Yes.
By a wide margin. Watergate was fucking stupid. I think, didn't you guys cover some Watergate stuff? I mean, it was fucking dumb.
I don't know if we did. I don't think we did. That might have been Iconoblast.
Yeah, it could have been. Yeah, it's like oh my God, this is bigger than Iran-Contra. This is bigger than JFK getting clipped by the CIA, I think, because
pretty close.
I
got JFK at 1. I got this at 2.
I've seen no evidence that voting machines were hacked that I actually believe. I just don't. That seems like with all the other stuff that was going on to rig this election, that would be the dumbest way to do it. Because there's a paper trail for that shit.
Right.
Right, and Dominion's currently ass-fucking everyone in court.
Well, they're doing that because the court's working with them. I think there is something suspect with those guys.
I agree. And if it's your own system, you can certainly put the settings where you want to put the settings there.
Yeah.
And even the MyPillow guy, the reason why he went through, I think that guy's a fucking moron, but the reason why he went down that road with those guys for so long was the discovery. He wanted to try to get at least some of the evidence of how these machines ran, what time these votes went in, and everything else. Because I certainly don't believe Biden got the fucking 81.
No, there's no way. But what I have seen is all the evidence I need to know with 100% certainty that the political class in this country, along with the FBI and the intelligence community, and nobody's left except for a couple of whistleblowers who have been fired, right, for speaking out about it. They fabricated lies to keep Trump out of office, to stop him once he was, and then to rig an election in 2020 so they could keep their geriatric, demented puppet in office. This guy has no idea where the fuck he is or what he's talking about half the time, and he's not the only one. It's becoming a trend with the Democrats to put fucking senile people who have no idea what the fuck's going on in office. And
so somebody else can run it behind the scenes.
Yeah. So Fetterman's one very clearly.
Yes.
Feinstein. We'll get to. We can just jump to those stories now if you want. It's the last story, last two stories actually. So Fetterman,
hang on real quick to piggyback off of this John Durham file here. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she filed articles of impeachment against the head of the FBI. So we'll see what happens there. And then there was one other person as well. What happens with this? Mayorkas is also up for impeachment right now. What happens with any of this shit?
Well, I mean, Marcus is probably up to get replaced anyways. He's been in that position for a while. I think since he was acting under Obama for the last 2 years of Obama, I believe.
Yeah.
So he's probably due to get replaced anyways. They're going to dump as much on him as they can until the next election, and then probably dump him anyways. So I don't know about him, but the FBI guy, look, it really all depends on what happens in this next election. If Trump gets elected, then I expect him to fire everybody, and if he doesn't, then that would be a massive betrayal of the trust of anybody that's ever followed him. If he doesn't go in and immediately clean house and fire every single one of these people.
And as of right now, breaking news here on NBC, they've also filed impeachment charges against
Adam Schiff.
Articles against Adam Schiff and Joe Biden as of an hour ago for his mishandling of the migrant crossings along the U.S.-Mexico border. The abuse of power on this charge is endangering the security of the United States and thwarting the will of Congress, it says. So, see what happens with that. Read a lot of feedback on Twitter from the left over the last couple of days after these impeachment of like, oh, really, an impeachment? Who's doing this? This is so out of touch. Really? You didn't say it during the last two when the impeachment charges were the guy that was already out of office. Guy wasn't even fucking there, and you guys were like, nah. Let's go ahead and try to do it, even though he's out of office. So, yeah, ring it up. This is exactly what I said last time, dude. Fucking, you put these articles of impeachment up there. The other side's going to do it no matter what. I thought it was dumb when the Republicans did it against Clinton in the fucking late 90s. This is what it is now.
I don't think this one's dumb. I mean, there's clear evidence that Biden's been involved in plenty of criminal activity. I don't know if you can impeach somebody for failing at the border, though.
Not sure.
I mean, technically you can for dereliction and all this other shit. I just don't see how you convict on that. I mean, that's a bit of a stretch. I think that's more of a political move. They should be filing articles of impeachment for him manipulating the justice system to protect his son, his brother, and himself.
Right.
That would be the more appropriate thing to do. But I think that investigation is still kind of fleshing itself out. I mean, he's got there's multiple FBI whistleblowers cruising around now, and multiple IRS whistleblowers cruising around now who are like, we're trying to investigate this dude, and people are shutting us down. As a matter of fact, the IRS team that was investigating Hunter Biden got completely shut down this week. Mm-hmm. All of their resources removed. There was one person in charge of it. They took the entire team and reassigned them. Why? Yeah. Like, how the fuck is... And you know, you can glean a few things when your enemy is... When they behave erratically or when they behave like they have nothing left to lose, you can glean a few things. Sometimes it means that they're desperate. Sometimes it means that it's rope-a-dope to trying to make a play in a different area. You know what I mean? It's like storming the gates, but really you're trying to hammer the back door or something like that. In this case, I think it's that they don't think that the media or the justice system will hold them accountable, so they're going to do what the fuck they want. That's what I think. So, and here's this John Durham report is the proof. Mm-hmm. The apparatus that controls the justice in this country is completely compromised. So what do you do then? You know what I mean? If the FBI shows up somewhere, it's going to be a fucking problem down here, right? If they start trying to flex down here, they're sending. There's this group of these two women that have been showing up at random people's houses. They showed up at the family home of this teacher who's part of a pro-life organization, trying to get her mom to tell her where they are and shit like that. And it was the same woman who was harassing this FBI whistleblower, this special agent that was in charge of some things that he's floating around now too. We're going to have him on the show pretty soon. It's like all this intimidation and crazy shit like that. This is late stage government. It's late stage capitalism, maybe if you want to involve the economic part of it, but it's late stage empire, right? As I said before, they can feel their power slipping through their fingers. They're losing control of this. Too many people have too much access to information and the ability to do things off-grid and do what they want. And they're like, oh, that's a danger for everybody else. These people are radicals. They're extremists. And they're going to start getting more and more bold. They're going to start getting more and more violent until something pops off.
I think if a Republican gets in there in 24, they'll clean house on the CIA and FBI. Obviously, you know, we talked to Trump about it, and that was one of the first steps they're going to take in that. I think DeSantis, if he were to get in, would probably do the same. Why there isn't charges out of any of this is a goddamn mystery to me.
Well, they're not going to charge themselves.
No, I know.
Like,
nobody cares.
Is the FBI going to charge itself?
Nope. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. you got to clean house and get rid of both of these organizations. The only thing that I was thinking about on the drive over is what they would actually do. And, I guess what we need them for is, do we need them for foreign intelligence? This is a question for you, I guess. Do they do anything overseas that's, spy on people and all that other shit?
The FBI?
Yeah, or the CIA? What would we actually need them for besides maybe domestic terrorists or somebody trying to fucking shoot up a school or something like that?
Yeah, again, the solution is to go lower. So think about this. Let's say, just hypothetically, that the FBI was immediately designated by a new Republican as an enemy of the state, for example, right? Who would fight back against them? Probably not the military. It would be state police. That would be the first line of defense, right? It would be governors saying, you know what, we no longer recognize your authority here. So everybody that's in the FBI, get the fuck out and send marshals or...
How many people are in the FBI?
Like fucking 18,000 or some shit like that? I don't know. I think it's 18,000 for the FBI.
35,000.
35, good God.
That's a lot.
Well, that includes all the administrative dicks and shit. But
that's still a lot of fucking people, man.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yep. Well, I told you last week, 6% of the United States works either for a state or federal government.
Yeah, I was unaware, though, that
yeah.
35,000 people work for the FBI.
I'm seeing 37,000.
Either way, that's even worse.
But, the battle would be between state police or sheriffs in counties and outside forces. So you would go to the FBI headquarters and say, get the fuck out of my state now or you're under arrest, right? Shut that building down, put a police barricade around it and shit like that. That's how it doesn't have to come to secession necessarily. We don't necessarily have to break the country up. It's not the country that's the problem. It is the people in the aristocracy who are continuously trying to leverage federal power against states and local governments, right? That's the problem. So the easy way, not easy, I'm sorry, the most effective way of handling that is just to say no. As a matter of fact, it's the only way that works, unless you want the entire country to crumble.
Bob, how many people are in the CIA?
That's classified.
Is it really?
Yeah.
So what do you do there?
What do you mean?
How do you how would one go about shutting down the CIA if we don't know how many people
You stop
there
paying
are?
their salaries.
Okay.
And they'll go home.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's the same way you shut down any government office.
There's
Stop paying
the
salaries, people stop
The
showing up.
estimate's 21,000.
Yeah.
That's comically low. But yeah, I mean, it's the only way you would be able to do that is to stop paying their salaries.
All right. Well, I mean, that's at least an easy one, right? So that doesn't require any fighting whatsoever or any violence. It's just simply shutting off a paycheck because then people aren't going to go anyways.
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends. If they keep hanging around like that dude from Office Space. then
Yeah,
it would
Stephen Root, and he
become-
just
yeah,
keeps going in the basement.
with his stapler, yeah. But I mean,
But that would be a reasonable solution of trying to get this done quickly and in a non-violent manner. If you just stop paying them, it'd be pretty easy. I mean, if you stop paying everybody, they stop showing up,
Yeah, imagine if you stop paying Congress and for welfare and all that shit, and people just had to, work,
Yeah.
have a real job. That would be something, wouldn't it?
It would. We'll see what happens. The problem with this is the one who's in charge of this right now, and I'm reading it. Most of these articles of impeachment are coming from Marjorie Taylor Greene. Why her? Like, why not just designate somebody else and be like, hey, dude, we're going to do this?
I think that Republicans are just controlled opposition. I don't think they're real. I don't feel like any of that's real. She's look at how she's changed from when she came in to now. It's like marshaling everybody and calling them traitors if they didn't sign this fucking bill before. Mm-hmm. Like, fuck you. Or vote for McCarthy or whatever the fuck.
Right.
He's a fucking statist neocon piece of shit.
Yeah.
And she's supposed to be a populist MAGA person, and she's like, if you don't vote for him, you're a piece of shit. Like, okay, cool, fucking skullhead. You look like fucking Skeletor, you piece of shit. Like, you're dumb as fuck. But that's, we have popularity contests and let dumb people vote to decide who's in control of us. We deserve every fucking bit of this.
That's what I'm saying. We are who we vote for, including this next one, Fetterman, this fucking genius here. Bob, do you have this clip?
This could just be presented without comment.
I don't even know that we need to say anything.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like this. I think I posted it on our Instagram yesterday before I left. This was the craziest shit of all time. And the one thing that I'm missing from this video is I wish there was an angle on the people who had to watch this. Because I would love to know what they were doing and what their facial expressions were watching this guy speak. Go ahead and play this, and you can sit through this because it's that uncomfortable. We had to.
That now they have a guaranteed way to be saved.
Wait, is this a remix?
By how, you know? So it's you know, isn't it appropriate that this kind of control should be more stricter to prevent this kind of thing from going? Or should we just go on and start bailing and sailing whoever bank, regardless of how their conduct is?
What?
You know, I'll give you an example. The Republicans want to give a work requirement for SNAP. You know, for a hungry family has to have this kind of penalties, or some kinds of working required. Shouldn't you have a working requirement after we sell your bank with billions of your bank? Realizes that
What?
So exactly, what's he talking about there?
I wanted to see. Here's what I was missing. I wanted the cutaway to the audience that he was speaking to, staring at this and trying to treat this person as a leader in our country, where you're like, yep, everything he's saying is correct and great, and I understand a word of it. Bailing and sailing. Am I missing something? Is sailing a banking term that I'm unaware of?
Delco, you want to chime in on as the local
Pennsylvania?
No idea, but does it really matter? He's just gonna fucking vote down the party box, right? So like, it could be another Democrat. It doesn't matter. He's just gonna do the same thing as any other Democrat.
Who?
Fucking Fetterman. So like, he's just gonna vote the way the party wants him to vote.
Exactly. So this is my point. It's like this is how almost everyone feels about the federal government. They don't respect the federal government.
I don't respect any of these people. Yeah.
They don't on either side. They don't respect any of these people. They don't really fucking. They just accept it because that's the way it is. But that is the wrong fucking answer to this question. You know what I mean? If it's that absurd and pointless that you don't even consider it to be an authority, then why the fuck do you continue to send them your money? Why do you continue to let them fucking dictate policy and shit like that? And it's not just the left. It's not the leftists. It's conservatives too. You guys are perfectly happy to restrain other people's rights provided you agree with the fucking restriction. You know what I mean? And that is the reason that we're in this situation today. At some point, it stopped being about liberty versus not liberty. It stopped being a liberal democracy inside of a constitutional republic and started being, how can my side win? And that's why we're here today, because we have the dumbest motherfuckers on earth running for office and slightly dumber people voting for them.
Well, and it'll go back to the thing you said about the book earlier, right? Where you and I think that is correct. Children should not have books like that, and it is fucked. There is people out there, normal fucking parents, that are fighting for the other way.
There are no normal parents who are okay with their children reading books from 4 to 8 years old, teaching them how to go find dick on the internet.
You and I agree.
No. You said normal.
Well, there are parents out there who are fighting.
They're a shitbag people.
I get it.
A normal parent understands that the dick will come to you.
Right.
Yeah,
right. Eventually, the dick will find you.
You get on the internet, the dick will find you.
The dick will find you. You don't have to
just
seek out the
for
dick.
The school to teach them.
It'll come and get
money.
you.
I'm not going to give my tax dollars to that.
But that's why all of this system exists, is because there are people who believe in the opposite of whatever you believe in. And it's all fucked. And that's why I don't know how to get out of any of this.
Well, you go smaller, not bigger, right?
Well, this was a local, that book problem was a local problem. We don't have that book here. It's not in my schools. It's not in every school there is in America, right? That's a small problem, but it still needed to be solved by the governor of the state.
It didn't need to be solved that way.
Well, that was the only process in which to take it there.
No, you can fire school board members. Like
100%.
And you don't need to wait for elections to do that either. You can have court orders that fire people like that. There's all sorts of ways to do that. As a matter of fact, you can impeach school board members. You can recall mayors. Mayors are actually one of the easier positions to recall, frankly. There's a lot of ways to go around that. It's a failure of public policy that the governor had to get involved in that. And it's
And that's
not,
probably, honestly, a two-pronged thing. One, a lack of understanding of your local civics. And two, just fucking laziness. Right?
it's mostly laziness.
It
yeah.
is.
The way same people are like, well, Trump or Biden or whoever should make a law that's can't be a thing or should be a thing, right? They're just like, Governor, will you fix this?
Right.
Instead of,
It just happened in Montana, too. We'll get to that story later.
Yeah.
But do an ad, and then we'll talk about another person with dementia.
Yeah, we'll talk about ghostbed.com/drinking bros. 50% off the bundle package right now. It's the adjustable base and the mattress combined together. The Split King is the most popular option there. It comes with 2 remote controls instead of 1. Goes upsy downsy, all aroundsies. I don't know why I gave a tug of the cap there. I gave a little Dick Van Dyke, Mary Poppins tug of the cap there for that. Maybe because the deals are insane. 50% off right now at ghostbed.com/drinking bros on the adjustable base, the bundle package. Get it. 40% off everything in the entire store with the promo code Drinkin Bros at checkout. So if you just want a mattress, some pillows, some sheets, maybe a cover or a weighted blanket, all you got to do is pop in that promo code Drinkin Bros at checkout. You'll get 40% off of everything. Doesn't matter how many items you get. And right now, regarding those mattresses, you're getting 2 free luxury pillows with the mattress, and those are just as good as the goddamn bed. I can promise you that. I've had them for years and years and years at this point. I'm not going back. Ding it. When you check out, you're going to see a 3-year pay-as-you-go program at the bottom of the screen. Check that box, and all the deals that I mentioned are applicable with that. You might walk out of there with a brand new bedroom set for about $20-25 a month. Head on over to ghostbed.com/drinking bros today. We'll stick to this theme here and rearrange these stories here as far as the dementia goes, because after watching that Fetterman thing, holy shit.
Well, this one, unfortunately, we don't have video for, but it is.
For Feinstein?
Yeah, it's way worse, I think. I mean, it's a little more explainable because she's 89 years old, which, again, I just want to point this out again, that an 89-year-old would be considered unemployable by anybody, anywhere, ever. Nobody would ever be like, have any job, no matter how fucking mundane or monotonous or pointless it is, and say, who I really need is a fucking geriatric retard who can't fucking walk from one place to another. That's the perfect person for this job.
Just think about how you'd react if you were at a slammed grocery store and you got into line and you were busy and you needed to get home and the cashier was 89.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, probably at every fucking Wawa.
No, HEB.
HEB.
Oh, do they have?
Oh, yeah.
They've got some. I feel like a lot of the baggers, they're getting tax write-offs for employing them.
Maybe.
I'm trying to say this
maybe.
as diplomatically as possible.
That one I actually, that tugs on the old heartstrings there, because if you're working at 89, that means you have to, and that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Dude. That absolutely fucking sucks.
I mean, it sounds like you failed at life, but whatever.
Well, you never know. But with this is an elected position here with Senator Dianne Feinstein on
so
Tuesday.
Jim Newell,
Yeah.
who's a reporter for Slate, he's a journalist, and I've read plenty of his stuff. He's just as much a jackass as anybody else that considers himself a journalist these days. But you know what I have noticed? CNN as well, and Politico especially. Slate is kind of new to this game. This is one of the first articles I've seen of them doing this stuff. But CNN and Politico have been writing a lot of articles about fucked up Democrats lately, which is interesting, right? I mean, it's interesting insofar as they just paused on that for about 15 years.
But again, and I mentioned part of this earlier in Ross Patterson Revolution this morning, you're running out of news outlets, and if you don't start reporting all the sides and all the things anymore, you are gone. Yeah. I mean, like everybody's getting wiped out. BuzzFeed, Vice, all of them.
Not saying that this in particular is ageism or whatever, because it's not. She's just she's dead. She's a dead person. But it would be useful for leftist, extremely progressive outlets to start hammering older Democrats for their own agenda, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they own the younger crowd.
Right.
So.
The older Democrats tend to be more moderate, less in line with, say, Cory Bush just proposed a $14 trillion slave reparation bill today or something like that.
Yeah.
14 trillion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You
14
said,
trillion.
yeah, with a T.
With a T, yeah.
Yeah.
Which,
So
this is like, that's what,
That's half the national debt.
That's 3.5 years of our GDP, basically.
Yeah.
it's just 4 coins. But But yeah, so that there's. I would not necessarily look at that and be like, oh, are they getting balanced? No, they might just be wanting to clean out the pantry to put their own new shit in there.
Yeah, maybe, and maybe that's why some of these people. I mean, even over the past probably year since the conversation about 24 election has come up, people have been, even CNN has been talking about how maybe they should get somebody younger than Joe Biden, right?
Yeah,
or somebody that can read and stuff like that. But this is this one is particularly concerning. Jim Newell, who's a reporter for Slate, he ran into Feinstein at the Capitol on Tuesday. She was coming off the elevator down from the floor to leave or whatever. And, just for background, if you haven't been following this, she had shingles allegedly for a while. Now, It turns out they reported today that she actually had something else as well, some kind of fucking disease or some shit. But the party line has been shingles. She was out. Now she's back. Everything's good.
Yeah.
Right.
And claimed that she was still working, by the way, from the hospital bed with shingles.
So she has voted twice this week so far on major legislation. On Tuesday afternoon, a male staffer escorted her on his arm to a vote against a Republican bill to block D.C. policing law. She was on and off the floor in an instant, but on her own 2 feet, although holding on to some dude's arm.
Okay.
So some dude fucking crip walked her down. She punched a button and fucked off, right? It was about a minute later after he encountered her on the elevator sitting in a wheelchair and flanked by staff. He asked her how she was feeling, and she said, "Oh, I'm feeling fine. I have a problem with the leg." And then a fellow reporter asked, "What's wrong with the leg?" And she replied, "Well, nothing that's anyone's concern but mine," which is an interesting thing to do after you introduce that problem into the conversation.
Yeah.
She could have just said fine and shut the fuck up, right?
Yeah, I'm feeling good.
But this is how people with dementia behave. They're super, sharp and ornery. Not horny, by the way, although I wish he was. So he just said, okay, I guess. And then she said, you should follow the I haven't been gone, I've been working. And then when asked whether she meant she'd been working from home, she got pissed off. And she says, no, I've been here, I've been voting. Please, either you know or you don't know. And after deflecting one final question, Rokana, who called on her to resign, she just wheeled away. She has no idea where she is.
No.
So this reporter was just trying to be like, hey, we were told you were out of commission for a while. How are you feeling? And she goes, I'm fine. It's none of your business. And he goes, oh, okay. And she goes, you should have been following. I've been working. And he goes, what do you mean working from home or working here? Or working from home or in the hospital? What do you mean? And she goes, no, I've been here voting. No, you haven't for fucking months, right?
You just showed up this week.
You've been in a hospital or at your house for 3 months at least. Mm-hmm. And she's in an argument with a reporter about having been somewhere that she wasn't. You know what I mean? And look, that's a sad situation, obviously. But maybe just roll her down a flight of stairs at this point because she is completely useless as a human being.
I saw something as a kid that always fascinated me. It was at a circus. These guys got on these motorcycles, and then they rode around these cages.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I want to see her strapped to a motorcycle, and then they just turn her loose in one of the cages, and then whatever happens at that point.
At least let her die with some dignity.
Yeah, and in front of a crowd.
But this is like, people talk a lot of shit about Reagan in his later years. I don't know that there was any evidence that he had dementia in 84 when he got reelected. Maybe there was, right? But certainly from 85 to 88, he was later in 85 and then through 88, he was fucked.
Well,
right?
that's the thing is you can't control when it's going to kick in. And, Joe was before he became president, Joe Biden.
Yeah, it was very clearly Joe Biden's mind was fucked before he got elected, and it was very obvious to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't do any appearances, didn't come out of the basement. They built a set for him, all that. Even now, he flies home, I think, every single weekend to Delaware now. There's a set down there as well.
Not just a set, but they built a fake outside of the White House thing for him.
Yes.
Yeah. It could be anything. Why would you do that? Like nobody believes that you're in. You're not even pretending like you're in front of the White House. You just built that. Why?
I don't know.
Like
with the
get
Reagan,
a nice set in a drawing room with a nice leather chair, regal, presidential, and just let him talk. Why would you? It's like wag the dog, man.
Katzenberg is in charge of his videos and all that shit. Jeffrey Katzenberg just built him a set inside of his house.
Yeah,
you could get fucking a union crew to do that.
Well, speaking of him, Bob, pull up that last Twitter link on there because this is Joe Biden talking. Let's see, when was it? It was the CNN town hall thing he did recently with Don Lemon before Lemon got fired.
Okay.
Just listen to this whole fucking video.
You got the vaccination?
Yeah.
Are you okay? I mean, you seem no, it works. Or or the mom and dad, or the neighbor, or when you go to church, or when you're no, I really mean it. There are trusted interlocutors. Think of the people. If your kid wanted to find out whether or not there's a man on the moon or whatever, something, or whether those aliens are here or not, who are the people they talk to beyond the kids who love talking about it? You got the vaccination?
Yeah, that's
what?
Yeah, I don't know what, and I don't think he does, and I don't know that anyone does, frankly.
But there was a man on the moon?
That's the president of the United States. And then we have one of the longest tenured senators in the United States and the shortest tenured senator in the United States, all retarded.
Yeah.
They can't speak. They can't communicate with other people. They have dementia. Or in Fetterman's case, he may have just been retarded from the start.
I don't know.
But I just don't understand, like, You said before there are ordinary parents who have kids who agree with some of this stuff that's going on in public schools. I don't think so. And I don't think there are ordinary people who support that shit right there either. If you're an American citizen, I don't give a fuck if you're liberal, conservative, Democrat, Republican, libertarian, fucking socialist. I don't give a fuck what you are. If you're okay with that, then you're a cunt.
But they put him in office. How many people in Pennsylvania voted that guy in?
Probably what?
5 and then 81 million voted the other guy in, who we just showed. So I mean, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, but you said
our nation is dumb, and I know that is hard for you, but it is a dumb nation we live in.
Extremely dumb. Yeah. But so the answer to that is certainly not to go to the higher level. That's the point. Like whenever you're fucked, you don't appeal to higher authority. You fucking fix the problems at the granular level, right? Like if you're a baseball player and your swing's fucked up, you don't go out and take home run derby. You go back into the cage and work on your fundamentals.
Right.
And our fundamentals are fucked right now.
But if you look at it from just the people we've talked about in the last half hour, all right, we got the President of the United States, our current sitting president. That's him. Fucking moron. Mm-hmm. State senator, 2 of them we brought up. Feinstein, she's 89 years old. They voted her in and she wanted to do it. But she was elected. So the state of California is fucking dumb.
She was old as shit, which is dumb, but still coherent, I think, when she won.
How long are those seats?
6.
Okay.
And she had announced that this was her last term. It's just, when you're fucking 88, it could be any day. It could be any day.
When is it supposed to expire for her? Not her life, but her actual term.
Let me check.
Because that'll be helpful. Because even then, let's say, shit, if she was 83 and it's a 6-year term, it should be now, right? Or 2024?
The last election was 2018, so yeah, 24 will be her last year.
Yeah. So
and she had announced that this is it.
Right.
Which
nah, run it back.
Run it back, dude. Let's go 6 more.
But she ran against another Democrat and still got 6 million votes.
But that's 6 million dumb people who did that. Pennsylvania, right? That's another one. That's senator. And then let's kick it back to Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's as small as you can get. I know that district in Georgia. That's tiny, and you still had fucking people put that person in. So I don't know how it's going to get better the lower and lower we go, because all of these people are still getting elected.
But that's not going lower. Electing people in small districts to go to Congress, you're just making the problem bigger at that point. You're sending more representatives to the federal government instead of telling the federal government to mind its business and go fuck itself.
But then you would have to have your own working state, and then whoever's in that state and whoever your elected official would be in that state.
But what day-to-day stuff do you think the federal government does that the states aren't doing themselves? I mean, they're not protecting the border, so you could wipe that one out. You could say defense, but everybody's got National Guard.
Great
right?
question. So whose problem is that then? Take our border, because it's affecting our state. It's affecting, obviously, Arizona, New Mexico, and California. Who would that be on financially? Would that be on the federal government or Texas?
Well,
or
think about it this way. So legally, it's on the federal government, but they're not doing their job. So it falls on Texas, and we're handling it. And not just in border enforcement, but also in dealing with all the fallout from that, the crime, fucking illegal immigrants that are fucking everywhere now, right? And everything that comes with that, whether it's employment taxes, public safety, healthcare, whatever the fuck, right? We're absorbing all that cost now, and Texas is still a profitable state. So imagine if we were allowed to do it in a way that made sense.
So is the federal government giving no money to everything that Abbott is doing right now? With the
That
border?
I don't know about that, but I know that the federal government's filed at least 3 lawsuits that I'm aware of against Abbott for his border enforcement policy, because they say that's our job, and he says you're not doing your job, so we're going to do it. But he's not asking for federal money to do it; he's using Texas money to do it.
Okay. Because that would be, obviously, if it's in your own state, something we would want to vote for and be like, all right, great, let's protect the fucking border because it's our goddamn state and we live here. So that's where it gets really fucking tricky at the end, because could Texas really finance an entire rebuild of a wall or security or everything else? I don't know what that answer is.
Well, we're already doing it.
Well, to an extent. I mean, they said that it cut the number in half, I think, but that's still, what was it, 50,000 migrants still coming in a day?
Well, that's
or
because the
something
federal
crazy?
government still controls, ultimately, they still control the border. So this reduction in migrant crossings that you're seeing, it's a bit of a misnomer, right? So instead of, they're just sending people through legal ports of entry now and letting them go instead of calling them illegal immigrants.
Gotcha. So, because Abbott has said that as well, is he doing the same, or is he personally turning them back?
I don't know. I saw a video on Twitter the other day that kind of clearly showed a fucking National Guardsman letting some people through a gate. Right?
That's what I saw too.
Well,
yeah.
That could be part of the military force that Biden sent as well. Somebody said that it looked like a New Hampshire or somewhere National Guardsman. I'm not sure, but I don't know. I don't know, and that's the problem, right? Like the bigger a power structure gets, I mean, think of it like a net. There's more and larger holes for things to go through. More things slip through the cracks. So that's why we have this system called federalism, which is where we have the Bill of Rights and the 9th and 10th Amendments to that say that everything that doesn't fall within these bills of right return to the state, right? That's the purpose of this system of government, is because things are handled most aptly and efficiently at the lowest possible level. And I think people are afraid, man. People are afraid to give up. They have FDIC for all the money they have in the bank.
Yep.
Although that money has been diluted incredibly over the past 10 years. They have mortgages that are federally insured as well, right? So until people are comfortable either literally fighting, or figuring out new ways to insulate themselves from federal power, then it's just going to continue like this.
Yes, and even insurance-wise, just having a house destroyed and going through a local company that was there because a bigger company wouldn't finance it because it was along a coastline. They went bankrupt as soon as a massive catastrophe happened. I don't know what the answer is, because that was unprotected and you lost everything. So I truly don't know what the answer is. I know the answer to starting off my day, though, is firstform.com/Drinkin Bros. These micro factors right here, boom, in the box, I'm going to show them to you, are the fucking jam. I'm a moron. I don't want to separate fucking pills all goddamn day long or in advance. I'll forget. I'm sure you guys do too. You get busy with kids, life, everything else. Wouldn't it be nice if all your daily vitamins were just separated for you in a tiny little bag like this? That's what firstform.com/Drinkin Bros has. You know First Form. They're the best in the business. They've got workout plans for you. They've got the best supplements on the planet. They're goddamn protein sticks. Holy Christ. We tear through these at the office. The breakfast sausage is the best. I know Bob's always eating the jalapeno ones, which is fine. Did he sprint off to the bathroom there? I love it, dude.
Yeah, Bob. Every trip to the bathroom for Bob is an emergency.
Sure is. When you booze as much as Bob does, there's a nice putrid alcohol shit.
His underwear is just a screen door wrapped around his fucking.
Honestly, I think these beef sticks are the only thing keeping him alive.
What are you even
I
doing
think so.
here?
Yeah.
Calm down.
There you go.
You're talking about fucking. Oh, you actually might be right about that.
Yeah.
Because he's probably eating dino nugs at his house.
Yeah.
At least this has fucking, legit protein and isn't processed.
That's why he's
It's the
pooping
best.
here.
It's the best, yeah.
It's the only time he can go through.
All of it, dude. They got workout plans for you over there. Derek White is over there. They got everything. Their apparel's amazing. And right now, when you go to firstform.com/drinkinbros, whatever you order over $75 is free shipping. It's First Form. It's the best in the biz. If you were hoping for like a massive promo code, good luck. Nike and those guys don't offer that shit because they don't have to. First Form is the best. Take the free shipping. I promise you, it's worth it. Yeah, the only problem is you end up buying like $500 worth of shit over there because they got everything over at First Form. Love this company. Amped that they're with us. It's probably one of the biggest sponsors we've ever had, to be honest with you. Go to firstform.com/drinkinbros. Boom, pills, mouth, gone, dude. I'm going to take these right now, D'Anthony.
Go ahead. Yeah, I like First Form. I take, let's see, in the morning I do fasted cardio, right? So I get on a Peloton and ride a bike for about an hour until I burn somewhere between 700 and 800 calories. That's kind of my sweet spot. And I immediately go in and make a shake with some like blueberries and then 8 different fucking products from First Form.
I know.
You know what I mean?
The bag's right here.
Every single day.
They're everywhere.
So I take the greens and the reds, mix it in there, whole heart, and their fish oil, and I don't even remember what else, magnesium.
It's all separated for you. The fruits and veggies. It's the best. Dude.
It's super nice just to be able to fucking throw that shit into your palm and dump it down your fucking neck tube. You know what I mean?
Micro factors. Go to firstform.com/drinkinbros today. Next up, we got the Fox News shakeup here that I wouldn't be that excited about. I know they were, and they were like, hey, look at us.
Well, you got to pretend, right? But I think this is like, to me, this really reeks of the middle 2000s Yankees.
Yeah.
With like Mark Teixeira and shit, where they just like overpaying for old people.
Names.
So it's his names. It's like,
and
all right,
it looks,
cool,
you're
man.
like, oh, all right, well, can they still play and do the things and all that other shit? A-Rod, is he still good? Is he on steroids?
Well, he chased one in 2009. That's the only one he ever got. So.
They won one, but it was no 90s Yankees.
It sure wasn't. It sure wasn't, friends. With that, again, this will lead into everything we've been saying in the last few months about the combustion of media. This Fox is next. I don't know how you can continue it after this. Pat McAfee did go to ESPN, by the way, on the exact day I predicted. I was told.
He's probably going to shed some subscribers.
People were pissed, man.
Yeah.
Everybody said the same thing you did. Every single person. Go look at his feed. I was just like, oh, shit, man. Look, he got the bag, dude. He was doing the fucking podcast out of the back of a van at one point. Like, congratulations, but yeah, it's going to be a different show. We won't be able to say fuck every other word like us. So Drudge Reports had a siren blaring scoop yesterday announcing the imminent shakeup at Fox News, eventually reporting that Sean Hannity will take over at 8 p.m. So primetime starts at 8, runs through 11 o'clock at night. For anybody out there who's trying to get a little insight peek into Hollywood, Sean Hannity's been on the network for 26 years. 26. He just broke the record a few weeks ago of Larry King. That's not your answer at 8 o'clock. Hannity was once good, but 26 years later, he's just kind of there at this point. Not that I think that there's anything wrong with him, but, he'll go wherever the wind blows. And right now it's blowing in at 8 o'clock. Now, the rest of this is it's pretty confusing. Jesse Waters is going to take over for Tucker Carlson.
Which is what I predicted.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
but he's the only choice. So.
The only choice. That was it. Greg Gutfeld is also going to handle the last hour of prime time there.
That one is the confusing one. I don't know. I haven't seen this. This is supposed to switch over sometime in the next 2 months or something. But who's going to do? Are they still going to do that late show?
I don't. So
he's got the only late show that's on television right now.
He's got the highest rated late show
well,
on
it's
television.
It's the only one on television right now.
Oh, correct. Because of the writer's strike. Yeah. It's so funny, man. They're not even meeting, so it's not like that's going to be solved.
No, I talked to somebody. Just a quick aside. I talked to a couple people involved in it yesterday, and they said pretty much exactly what you did, which is that it's going to be another 6 to 8 weeks, and the only reason they're doing that is because after 8 weeks of a strike, the studios then have the right to force majeure a decision, which means they can fucking kill, or they not a decision, but it would be a force majeure. It would be considered an act of God. So any binding contract they have with any of these people, they could immediately terminate it after 8 weeks.
Gone.
So that's 6 weeks from now.
Yeah.
And then it's probably going to take another 2 weeks for them to negotiate after that happens. So it's about 8 weeks out.
If they want to. I mean, nobody's really missing anything.
I don't think
television.
they don't want to miss the fall programming schedule. I don't think.
Because
if you don't get it done by the end of June, you're missing the fall programming
you'll miss
schedule.
it, yes. And I don't think they want it. I think they want to script it altogether. That's my prediction.
Maybe.
I don't think you're going to get an answer until August or September. That's my guess. But with this here, what happened to Laura Ingraham?
That I don't know. Is she on Newsmax or something like that?
No, she's still on Fox, and she was on after Tucker. So when Tucker ended, Bob, will you look up Laura Ingraham, what happened to her? Unless Drudge Report just completely omitted her altogether. Where did she go? The other problem with Fox's new lineup here is, like Dan said, so Gutfeld was on at 11. He had not only the only existing night show, but the highest rated even before the writer's strike. So now you'd be either nuking that because he's on the 5. 5 is the afternoon's highest rated program in all of cable news. But that's got Jesse Waters and Gutfeld.
Yeah.
Then they're going to do each of their own shows afterward, and then you're going to try to put Gutfeld on at 11 o'clock again?
It just says Ingram, I don't know, it hasn't really been decided yet. They said Ingram is and will continue to be a prominent host, an integral part of the line. I think they're not touching her. I think she stays on at 10 Eastern.
Okay. Because if this is going to be the lineup here, you're going to have to kill, in my opinion, the Gutfeld show at 11, which a lot of people love, and it is the highest rated. That's not great. Or take these guys off of the 5, but that's also your highest rated show on cable news in the afternoon. I don't know what you do with these guys. I mean, because if they keep this schedule, you'll run them into the fucking ground. I mean, they'll burn out.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of even that, this seems like a short-term solution to me. This can't be your long-term solution here, right?
No.
Technically, we saw Larry King too, right? Typically, when a host ages like that and his audience ages, you move them earlier, not later.
Right.
Now they're moving Hannity earlier, which that kind of makes sense, but earlier into prime time doesn't make sense. I think to be honest, he should probably be the earliest. He should probably be the 7 p.m. Eastern time show at this point in his career, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, you're trying to bring in, and I said this a few weeks ago, with history and news, it is typically an older demographic here. So, yes, you're trying to get younger. Tucker was the one that beat it. I mean, he was the one that brought in all the younger demo.
So they're moving Hannity into Tucker's spot. That's the 8 p.m. slot. That to me makes no sense. Hannity had the youngest audience of all the Fox hosts.
Right.
So that one's a head scratcher. I mean, maybe it's just they're considering Hannity a tentpole. One of the downstream things that happened after Tucker left is that the show before him and the 2 shows after him all lost ratings massively. They lost half of their audience basically. So maybe they're trying to put Hannity in there as to keep, because technically for the ratings, somebody only has to watch a minute of the previous show and then a minute of the next show to get those ratings, right? Which is kind of disingenuous, but that's how the business works.
You can fall asleep with the TV on and the ratings count.
So I think this, in that way, it makes a little bit of sense to me, but I mean, it's a bad sign. You know what I mean? It's like having to move your 8-hole hitter into your fucking cleanup spot. It's not a good sign. That's never a good sign. No matter it'll work. That it'll work is not a course of action. You know what I mean?
I think Tucker was like Jenga. It was the last piece. Once they pulled it, that's it. I think this will collapse. I think CNN is obviously collapsing. I don't think any of that shit's going to work. And as I told you with the Trump town hall, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, that Collins chick, She was doing that interview because they were going to give her the 9 p.m. slot on CNN, which they did.
Well, I don't know if they've given her 9 p.m. yet, but they are moving her into prime time.
She's going into prime time.
I assume it's going to be the 9 p.m. slot.
She's not great either. None of these people are that great. I mean, I think Gutfeld's great, but I liked Gutfeld on the 5, and I liked him on the Night Show because he's kind of funny and everything else. Trying to do a news, unless it's going to be topical, like the Daily Show or something like.
That would be fun.
It would
prime
be
time. I mean, if he just moved his late night show into the 9 p.m. slot, I would probably watch that.
Same.
I don't really watch cable news, but I would watch that sometimes, depending on because remember,
it's the same time slot as the Daily Show and Talk Soup.
The Daily Show used to be like opening kind of monologue, talk about a couple of current events, then have a guest on, and then maybe a second guest, and then you close it out. I like that format. I think that would be because Gutfeld is pretty funny.
Yes,
I mean, he's tiny. He's a super small guy, and it freaks me out a little bit. But he's pretty funny.
Well, you're only going to see this much of him in like a head and a torso. So
not on the 5 though. On the 5, they're at that desk, and you can tell how little he is, and it always freaks. It's like, oh, come on, Greg. But he's a nice guy. He's funny as shit too.
So I think just reading this out loud here for the first time, it's got to be that format if you're trying to hope, like if you're praying to bring in a younger demo for this. Otherwise, Hannity's not going to solve that for you. Jesse Waters is a likable dude, but he's likable on the 5. Will that translate to where Tucker was? I don't know. I don't see him doing the interviews the way Tucker used to. That's a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that is Tucker's natural ability. A lot of it is his team who have they stayed on for like an extra week and then pieced out. So they're all. I don't know if they're working for him yet. I don't know anything about that, but they will be, I assume, right?
Yeah.
And now Twitter announced today that if you're a Twitter Blue subscriber, you can now put 2-hour videos on Twitter, right?
Oh shit! I asked that question the other day on Twitter.
Look out for Drinkin' Bros to move all of our content off of YouTube sometime in the near future because fuck YouTube. Right?
Yeah, and if they're gonna pay for it too and no algorithm, shit, dude. The amount of fucking things we have to do, from thumbnails to titles to...
I just noticed our thumbnail for today. I was kind of joking when I told Joel what to make, but he totally made it. So, if you guys haven't seen it yet, you're going to enjoy that.
Well, we'll get to it now if you want to. Next up, Lauren Boebert is single. Let's go. Let's get some applause for that, Delco. Let's get some... There we go. Thank you. Thank you. A lot of people have been waiting for this. I didn't know she had 4 kids. Colorado repube Lauren Boebert has filed to divorce her husband of 2 decades. How old is she? She looks young.
36, maybe.
She's been married for 20 years? She got married at 16? Shit.
Well, she's been with him for that long.
Okay. So she filed for divorce on Tuesday, according to the Daily Beast. The April 25th filing seeks to dissolve her marriage to Jason Boebert, and that is Jayson, which always freaks me out.
I wonder if she's going to go back to her maiden name,
which is,
I think it's Roberts or some shit. I don't remember. It's nothing weird. It's like
Lauren Roberts. That's a good one. Yeah. Boebert's weird.
But so the Daily Beast is the first people to write the story about it, and I don't know who they wrote that he chased away the process server with an expletive-laden tirade and then let his dogs loose when he was served with the divorce papers, which, by the way, answers the age-old question about who let the dogs out. It was Jason Boebert.
Yes.
Now, he says that didn't happen. But this is what the process server told the Daily Beast. They said once he learned that he was being served with dissolution of marriage papers, he was extremely angry. I tried to hand him the documents, but he did not take them. He started yelling and using profanities and told me that I was trespassing, that he was calling the sheriff's office. I told him I was leaving and the documents on the chair on the outside of the door. He closed the door and then let the dogs out. Now, I don't know how you close the door and then let dogs out.
So there's a lot of people have through the screen door a little doggy door.
I don't think that's
perhaps
the case
Mr. Burnsian release the hounds button.
You think they're just like in a dog house outside and he presses a button and they just go out maybe?
I think so. I think so, and that's how he let the dogs out.
Now, the process server also said that he was in the process of cleaning a gun and drinking a, quote, tall glass of beer when he was served.
I mean, that's exact. I don't know this guy. I've never seen a picture of him, nothing. but this is exactly what I picture him doing.
Can we find a picture of
in the middle of the
Jason
afternoon?
Boebert. Now,
yeah.
I want you to remember that he and his wife started a open carry restaurant.
What the fuck does that mean?
It means it was a restaurant where you were actively, like, they were like, please come in with holster on belt. Like, we prefer you to be armed
You pop
in
a
our
few
restaurant.
shots off.
Yeah, do a couple desk pops there. That's not a bad idea.
I mean,
what's the name of it?
I guess.
What's the name of it? Just roll up.
All right, this guy was
With a
doing
holster.
This guy was doing exactly what this process server said.
Yeah, he sure was. Oh man, that's a poster child for domestic violence.
It seems like now they have had some run-ins with the law. These two for in both directions for hitting one another, I believe.
Okay.
So yeah, you're probably right about that. His hair is going pretty quick there, and he's spiking it up in the front, so that's not great.
No.
But yeah, so
He's
she's
doing his best.
This is what Lauren said, and I assume that somebody typed this for her because she can't spell, obviously. Right?
Well, she's hot.
It is with a heavy weight on my heart that I filed for divorce from my
Heavy
husband.
weight on her heart?
Yeah, she's got myocarditis, I think. I am grateful for our years of marriage together and our beautiful children, all of whom deserve privacy and love as we work through this process. I've always been faithful in my marriage, and I believe strongly in marriage, which makes this announcement that much more difficult. This is truly about irreconcilable differences. Now, she met him when she was 16. She was working at Burger King, which is,
Yes, this is on brand. Boebert is on brand here.
Yeah, I don't know how old is he? Like, how much older is he than her?
I would say 2 years. That's my guess. I bet you she was a sophomore and he was a senior.
He's 42.
And she's what, 37?
6.
30. Okay.
So he was 22 when he met this 16-year-old Burger King cashier.
At Burger King at 16-ish.
Now, that's a little, that's close. It's right on the line.
Yeah. Is that Colorado?
Yeah.
Okay, Bob, go ahead and look up that.
Colorado.
Okay, it's 17. Yeah. So
the couple had their first kid when she was 18, which means she got pregnant when she was 17, probably.
Yeah.
And recently shared that they're about to become grandparents. Jason and Lauren Boebert had their fair share of brushes with law enforcement during their time together. Jason was arrested in 2004 for exposing his penis to two women at a bowling alley.
I'm sorry. What?
He pulled his dick out at a bowling alley and showed it to two chicks.
Not his wife.
Well, she was there.
Oh, she was there.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was 17 at the time, though.
So maybe they just got caught up in a crossfire hurricane of his dick. Maybe he said, "Oh, hey, Lauren, here's my dick."
Well,
then the other people were there.
Yeah, the way they word this, though, it makes it seem like that wasn't the case. So what it says is he was arrested in 2004 for exposing his penis to two women at a bowling alley, a crime he pleaded guilty to.
Oh, he did plead guilty.
Boebert, who is then 17-year-old Lauren Opal Roberts, Roberts is right.
I love that.
Was at the bowling alley too, but she reportedly stayed with Jason. So it's like that. What they're implying is that he was definitely doing some weird shit, but she chose to stay with him anyways. Yeah. That same year, again, she's 17 at the time. They were both arrested for separate incidents in which they reportedly abused each other. He was arrested
on domestic violence. There we go. I called it. I fucking called it. Looking at the
for
picture.
him, while Boebert was slapped with charges of third-degree assault, criminal mischief, and underage drinking about 3-4 months later.
Okay.
So I guess the only question is, from my perspective, right? Mm-hmm. This all seems like pretty cut and dry to me. What's going on here?
Yeah.
She's trading up, right? She's probably already banging somebody, frankly. She's got like a blue blood attorney in Washington that's gonna whatever the fuck. But the question is, does banging her constitute a crime at this point? And I'm genuinely curious about this because she is mentally retarded. What are the laws exactly about banging retarded people?
It's not good. I don't think it's allowed. Actually, I don't know. I actually don't know that rule, but I will say this. Boebert plays, and if you're saying otherwise and you're out there in the world right now, you're a liar.
Bob, can you throw up that the thumbnail for today? Are you able to do that?
Yeah, we will.
I just want everybody, just in case you don't tune back into the show later, there's 1,000 people watching.
Have you ever heard the neighbor of Jason Boebert, his 9/11 call?
No.
Is it funny?
About Jason Boebert just saying how big of a piece of shit he is.
No, do you have it?
I think so.
Pop that up on screen. Play that. That'd
Yeah,
be great.
but let's go in order here. Show that. So this is.
Okay, that's the. Oh, that's great.
She's got the helmet.
Yeah, that's really great.
I was joking when I said to do that, but I guess
No,
why not,
it's
man?
perfect. It's perfect. Fuck it, hey, dude. Let's hear the 911 call. Now
this
I'm in.
should be it. It's hard.
Now I'm all in.
It was hard to scrub without because it's audio.
Okay.
And Jason, he's running over my mailbox right now. Stop, you dick! Get out of here! Come on, man! What are you doing? What did we do wrong? I live here. There's about to be some going down here. Now we got a whole.
Holy shit! This guy parties. Now I'm kind of fucking down with Jason.
He's just gonna cruise back into a BK.
Right.
Right?
That's he's going right back to his
Oh, yeah.
small town Burger
This
King.
is he's pulling his dick out at a bowling alley. Guilty. Okay, driving over somebody's mailbox. Guilty. Like now I'm starting to relate to this guy, and he's becoming relatable and likable now. He was cleaning a gun with a very tall glass of beer while he was served his papers. Amazing. Amazing. It's important to stay on brand. If he veered from that, if he was drinking Bud Lights, then you'd be like, well, fuck him, dude.
In her statement, she specifically makes clear that it was not that he wasn't drinking beer and definitely not Bud Light.
Shut the fuck up.
Yep.
No way. Who said that? The Daily Beast?
No, Boebert.
So she's defending the guy she's divorcing. Hey, he ain't no queer, man.
Yeah.
I have other problems, but he ain't no queer.
He ain't good enough for me, but he don't drink no fucking Bud Light.
Fuck yes, dude.
This
I
is
love
just
that
like-
she threw that in.
I mean, if we're gonna
love it.
have Corey Bush and AOC, we may as well have white trash like this.
Right.
Yeah.
This is just Thanos balancing everything out.
But I'm fine with this little, ticky-tack shit.
You think she's going OnlyFans or no?
If she's out, if she would have been voted out, because it was close. Remember, we were doing the election that night. So we were doing the midterm show, and it was
don't remember
close.
any of that.
Yeah.
Back to being a bar.
It was really
I think
close.
It was like three figures.
It was.
Like, it was
Yeah.
under 1,000 votes.
It was. It was very, very close. Speaking of which, how's Herschel doing? Did we wrap that up down
he's
there?
still doing real bad.
Okay.
Doing bad. I do have a bit of a tragic video, I guess. Lauren Boebert clearly didn't follow her own advice on how to stay married. She was telling a bunch of other women how to do it.
When was this?
Are you struggling in your marriage?
There you go.
Begin to speak life into your marriage.
Oh, is she like a youth pastor now?
Ladies.
What the fuck is this?
She's hot.
You are called to something great in your marriage. The power that you have in Christ.
There it is. I was waiting for
your
in
marriage
Christ. I
is
almost said it.
unmatched.
Why do these people think they have
And if
fucking
you
superpowers?
start chasing
You do.
Jesus
You just have to believe in
with
yourself.
everything that you have,
Chasing
I
Jesus.
promise you, your husband will chase you chasing Jesus.
Yes.
No, he won't.
Yes.
He's gonna go fuck another girl at Burger King.
Good luck chasing Jesus. I bet his 40 time is immaculate.
Oh
dude.
yeah, if you see him up on the cross, dude is fucking cut.
Yes.
You think he's doing that without getting cardio in?
He's running a 4.2
no
40.
fucking. What do you think? Are you saying Jesus on trend? You saying he's juiced up?
Come on.
No.
Yeah, but
Jesus works out. He's fucking natural.
You're not going to be able to chase Jesus and catch Jesus, all right?
You
He's
wanna-
too fast.
you got to neg Jesus.
Yes. You got to.
Yeah, Jesus hangs out with strippers and prostitutes and the poor.
Well, it was just one prostitute.
One prostitute.
vagrants.
Huh?
And the vagrants, right?
Vagrants? Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
Those are his people.
Some
downtrodden.
vagabonds.
I mean, you don't sell medicine to healthy people, right?
No, it's what I'm saying. If you're trying to find Jesus, why are you chasing him? Just sit down and, have some problems.
Have a
That's it.
convo with him. Rap with him. Do some Morse code.
Also, he only hung out with one named prostitute.
Yeah,
he didn't
yeah.
bother to get the rest of their
You're
names.
telling me Mary Maggs didn't have friends?
She had some friends.
She had some friends.
She had some friends for sure. For sure. But Boebert's on the market. How old is she? She's 36
She's
now?
36. Her husband's 42. They met 16, 22.
Bro,
Yeah.
this is if you're on that side of the far right conservative
36?
party, you chase that down. Somebody's laying pipe to Bobert right now.
No, like how much do you suck to have this much middle-aged mom in you at 36? Like, yeah, she's kind of hot.
Well,
but
she's
as
from
soon
like
as she opens her mouth.
She's from like Grand
it's
Junction.
America.
Kinda.
She's like from Grand Junction, Colorado, dude. What do you expect?
Yeah, I mean, look, that's in her town too.
Those words mean nothing to me.
What do you mean?
She's from Grand Junction, Colorado.
It's
Yo, you
Western
got it.
Colorado where
Yes.
there's nothing.
Nothing.
The hills have eyes.
She is she's Miss Universe. That's the most beautiful woman they've ever seen in that town.
Yeah, imagine you haven't seen a woman for 5,000 years, and then you see her. She's probably pretty hot.
Yeah.
Under those circumstances.
At that point, me and Dan are just lifting weights. Women don't exist anymore. If that's the best it gets, give me a bench press.
Homeboy's 23 years old, and he looked around that town for the last fucking 22 years. And he was like, God damn it, the talent sucks here. Who the fuck is that 16-year-old at Burger King?
We gotta interview
Now
that
it all
guy.
makes sense, dude.
Yeah.
All of this makes sense.
She probably got her some fucking Big Mac titties, right?
Sure
that's,
did.
That's usually what happens. Some relative dies and you get a fucking inheritance and you immediately buy fake titties.
Yeah.
And you elevate yourself out of a shitty white trash situation.
And she has done that. This is
by the way-
she's the American dream.
Yeah, by the way, this is the real country song about small town romance.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a predator and some white trash girl. I doubt she's got a relationship with her father, right?
Not at all.
Unlikely, I would
You
say.
say predator, I say high school quarterback.
Opportunist.
He's still out getting a pack of smokes right
Ex
now.
high school quarterback. He's already retired.
Her and AOC are just Morio and Wario.
Yeah, but both play where you're just like, all right, cool, man. Even the crazy stories in the background, that just ramps up the sexual tension where you're like, all right, well, fuck. Let's do this. Bobert, dude, 36.
No.
Who
I mean,
is
if
it?
I see her around, I'll probably. The problem is now I can't tell her who I am and use that.
No.
Because she's gonna go look at all the crazy things I've said about her, and
Know that I stood beside you.
she's gonna look at the fucking thumbnail from today.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
make a super cut of it.
Yeah. Hey,
You may as well go ahead and fucking dig back into the archives and make a super cut and be like, look, I just want to get this all out there before we engage in intercourse, that I've said some horrible things about you. And I also want you to know that after I come, I'm going to go right back to saying fucked up shit about you. So,
and Bobert, just know this. If
important to be
you
honest.
are watching these shows, there's only one set of footprints up here who are carrying you, and that was me, okay? I ride for you, Bobert. I'm proud of you. Everything that you've done. And I believe in your hotness and chasing down Jesus and Burger King and fucking cleaning guns. And I love all of it. I love all of it, Bobert. Man, it's a catch. She's out there, guys. She's out there. It's a catch. Shit.
somebody's got to raise them kids, man.
I know.
It's not going to be her. She's in Washington getting
The
plowed.
state can raise those kids.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess.
Maybe
You're in Colorado. Just drop them off in the wilderness somewhere. They'll figure it out.
I think you're fine. I think you're
Well,
fine.
her
up
kids
there.
are raising kids now.
That's
so.
true. Yeah,
One of them is,
they're
yeah.
grown.
Yeah.
They're grown, dude.
Yeah. Just give that, whenever one of them turns 18, just give that kid the rest of the kids, I guess. Although
that's
I
how
think
it works, right?
how old is their oldest kid? Because somebody's pregnant.
18.
I wouldn't count on that.
You think it's younger?
Do you think that
Is the one who's having a kid fucking younger than 18?
she's 36 and she didn't have her first kid until 18, so that would be the oldest. Or yeah, the oldest one would be 18.
I'm
yeah.
hoping it's that one. So, Bob, is it the 18-year-old who's having a child?
Let me check.
Is this a Teen Mom MTV sitch right now?
Almost certainly. Fuck. Let's see.
Man, Bobert, dude, making all the right moves. Let's go, Bobert.
I don't care about this anymore.
I do. It's got to be the 18-year-old. While you look that up, we'll get to the next story.
Wait, Craig Dulesky says, I bet her new slogan is, quote, she rules and she wants it her way.
Yeah. At BK, have it your way. Bobert.
You're divorced.
Yeah, you're divorced. Bobert.
I wouldn't mind seeing her titties. I'm not going to lie.
She's got 4 kids. Their oldest, Tyler, 18, is expecting a baby with his girlfriend.
Nailed it.
And man, I just suspect she's not 18.
Oh, there's no way. No, she's a fucking. Maybe it's Chick-fil-A and not Burger King. So that's how it is. So when your parents had kids, they're like, our kids are going to go to college. They're going to be the first kids to go to college. And when you have kids, you're like, my kids are going to be set on the right path to have a good career, right? And I'm going to leave them some money so they have the opportunity to go up in the caste class system a little bit. For them, it's just like you pick off a girl at a slightly better fast food restaurant.
Yep.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
Right?
But then you retire to family land for money for no freaking reason. This is that small town America bullshit where it's just like, everything's going to be okay.
It is. A lot of people are mentioning Sarah Palin in the chat. Did we have to? I mean, that's abundantly clear. I mean, we've made that clear for years.
Same
on the show.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Just same freaking
But it's another small town thing, man. You're in Alaska. Like,
But not even the good parts of it. Not even, there's like so many good people in small towns, and these retards keep getting elected.
I understand that, but were they this hot? Sarah Palin, Boebert? No, they weren't. And that's the hottest people in their town, and then they rise to the top and get to do all the fun shit. And I understand both situations the same, dude.
So he got her pregnant when he was 17, is 18 currently.
17 is legal in Colorado?
That's what abstinence-only sex education gets for you, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, ask any fucking like 30 to 40-year-old woman how difficult it is to get pregnant if you're actually trying to.
Oh, yeah.
All you've got to do is pay a little bit. You can only get pregnant for like this. This is a little silly, but you can only.
days.
It's like no.
No,
14
you avoid,
days,
like
like 16
48-hour
hours a
period.
month.
Yeah.
Well, it can live in there for a little bit.
Yeah, if you got strong swimmers, it could be a little bit longer, but it's about 16 hours per month for most women when they're
Got to
fertile.
keep a calendar.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's like you can get a watch that tracks that shit, and you can cream pie for fucking 28 days a month, buddy.
Yeah.
You just got to take one day off, maybe two.
And
right?
also, what is, like, we are depriving our young males of a pullout game. Like, none of them have learned that anymore.
I don't respect pulling out. I'd rather do math than pull out, which says something, right?
It does. About education.
I go off field, Dan. I'm a game player. Pass me the rock. I'll show you what I'm going to do with it.
How have you two never had kids is what I don't
Exactly.
understand.
My pullout game is immaculate.
That we know of.
Well, that's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
I think it's better to say none you're responsible for
Yeah.
Right.
because, it's probably more accurate.
If I don't know the mom's first name, it's not mine.
I bet you guys have watched that documentary, The Staircase, on Netflix.
Nope.
It's about gravity.
Give it a quick peek. That's all I'm gonna say.
I can imagine what it's about.
Yep.
Look,
sure is.
You don't need to do any of that if you just present yourself as such a piece of shit that the mother will never want you around the child.
She'll never contact
You know what I
me
mean?
after, yeah.
That's their it's not even birth control. That's just their child support control.
The first thing you should do if you find out you got a girl pregnant is to fuck all of her friends.
But what did Jason have? Like when Jason showed up at the bowling alley with his dick out to all these other people.
He
doing
had an
something
ID
weird.
that made him over 21 so
had a
he could
car.
buy booze. That's all that was. They hooked up because he could buy booze.
For real, though, you were willing to put up with so much as a
Oh,
kid
yeah.
if you could get booze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sacrificing a friend, be like,
That's
yo,
like that's the number one creep move is to buy fucking young girls booze, right?
I think Giorgio's probably a guy is giving you an HJ for
Man.
some booze, right?
Can I just get a little more in depth of how they met? Because it's just
Please
fucking-
do, Bob. Please do.
Lauren Boebert, who briefly worked at Burger King before returning to McDonald's. So
I thought you were going to say before retiring.
She doesn't have a lot of options.
So she was
BK
working.
and McDonald's. Man, the two titans of the industry.
Well, she left to go to Burger King. This woman knows how to negotiate, and
Yeah.
I, for one, am glad she's in the federal government.
Yes.
But she met Jason. This is the part that really gets me.
Okay.
She's 16 at the time. She met Jason when he stopped by for lunch with coworkers from the oil rig.
Oh man.
Man, this is
So it's just a couple of roughnecks sitting at a booth at Burger King being like, man, I'd like to split that girl in half.
this is a fucking CMT movie, dude, on a Saturday
Fucking is.
afternoon. It's
A
awesome.
walk to remember, except for she doesn't die at the end.
This
No.
is a police report.
This is Six Pack
No,
with
it
Kenny
can be-
Rogers.
something can be two things.
This is a Reba song that people don't realize is a tragedy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you listen to Fancy and you think,
And it's like
Right.
a Burger King commercial in the
Yeah.
background. God damn it, dude.
There's a night that the lights went out in Georgia. Like I keep hearing that song in the background of this movie on CMT as Boebert is getting whisked out of the window. Because he's pulling her out of the window at the drive-through, and he's like, you don't need to work this job no more.
I'll never get over how there's 1,000 people just watching us have this conversation.
This is a traumatized high school woman that is now making decisions for people.
That's great. She's a mom of four chasing Jesus. Giorgio.
Well,
That's all I
Yeah,
see.
I think
a hot mom of
she
four.
must have torn an ACL. Now she can't change Jesus.
A
anymore.
hot single mom of
Or is
four.
Jesus the homewrecker here?
Yeah. Is Christ the one who causes divorce?
Well, yeah, I
don't
mean,
know.
Jesus was technically a homewrecker because his dad was a homewrecker as well, right?
Well, but maybe that's why he became a carpenter, so he could rebuild those homes.
Hold on.
How do you think that conversation went between Mary and Joseph? Honestly,
I don't think they had any I mean, they were obviously promised to one another, but I don't think Mary was she was significantly younger than Joseph.
Probably 13, yeah, 12, 13, give or take.
And don't all.
But what's that got to do with anything?
Yeah, but Joseph was really old.
He was really old. She
Okay,
was
so what?
13.
So I'm saying they probably didn't have any interaction before that.
They didn't listen to the same music.
No physical,
Yeah.
You're saying they didn't fuck. Yeah, you might be right about that, certainly. But there was a conversation where this 12 to 14-year-old Mary was like, hey, Joe, which is where the song comes from,
Yep,
by the way.
Jimi Hendrix.
Big song. It's mostly about that. Hey, Joe, you're not going to believe this, but got cream pie by God. So you're going to have to raise this fucking kid.
Sorry, man.
Yeah.
Sorry about it.
And he's a real piece of work, too.
Yeah.
So good luck.
And then in a few thousand years, Jason Boebert will come along and whisk a girl out of Burger King, and she'll become a congressperson, woman, and that's going to change the world.
Yeah.
But she is single if you're out there. Next up, we got the intrusion at the National Security Advisor's home, which is now currently under investigation. The U.S. Secret Service is investigating how a man entered the home of President Biden's National Security Advisor in the middle of the night, roughly 2 weeks ago, without being detected by agents guarding his house, according to 3 government officials. The unknown man walked into Jake Sullivan's house around 3 a.m. One night in late April, and Sullivan confronted the individual, instructing him to leave. 2 of the people briefed on the incident said there were no signs of forced entry at the home, though, according to one of the people. Sullivan has round-the-clock Secret Service detail, but agents stationed outside the house were unaware that an intruder had gotten inside the home located in the West End neighborhood of Washington until the man had already left and Sullivan came outside to alert the agents, 2 people said. The intruder appeared to be intoxicated and confused about where he was. According to people briefed on the incident, there's no evidence the person knew Sullivan or sought to harm him. In a statement, the Secret Service said it has launched an investigation. God, we're always launching these fucking investigations that go nowhere. Into the incident and how the intruder accessed Sullivan's home undetected. Couldn't they just look at the fucking camera footage?
You would think they would have plenty of it.
What? No need to launch an investigation. Just watch Ring. That's it.
I mean, so I don't even know. Did they even arrest this guy? Or did he make it in and out of the area pissed drunk and nobody noticed? Because that seems not great for the Secret Service.
No, right? And the other part of this is I haven't read about anybody being arrested, so I don't.
Well,
even
they called
know if
him
they
the
have
unknown
guy.
man, so I'm guessing they haven't.
Yeah, and if you don't have camera footage there, I mean, look, I hate to dabble into conspiracies here, but there was also an intruder at Paul Pelosi's house.
Yeah,
right around the same time,
and he was drinking wine.
Yep.
Well, Paul gave it to him, I think. He really gave it to him.
Yeah, and then he gave him a little hammer afterwards. Yeah. So I don't know why even. My question is this, and I'm being serious. Why even come out with this story? It makes people suspect of your house, suspect of you, and then suspect of the Secret Service. This, I would contact the Secret Service, personally, or whoever was on detail that night, and if this really did happen and it wasn't like a gay tryst, and I would say, look. Let's keep this between one another and do a better fucking job, but let's not go to the press for this. Why even subject yourself to any speculation whatsoever?
I don't know. Probably because they'll identify the man as a fucking MAGA Republican in a couple of days. Something like that, right? Just a foil.
I mean, this is so fucking dumb, dude. If he was unharmed, nothing was taken and everything else, how'd you know the guy was drunk? I guess Sullivan told him.
Well, I don't know that did they even interact?
It said he confronted the individual, instructing him to leave. So,
and he said he appeared drunk. Like, what are you, a doctor?
Or could you smell it on
You
him?
could tell that a guy's drunk, but you can't tell what a fucking woman is? Really?
Was his dick out at a bowling alley?
I mean, I don't believe any of this.
Me neither. This seems really fucking odd, 1. 2, makes the Secret Service look like shit. There's no reason to come forward with a story unless you're planning to plant a story. Or something is going to come out later on in the upcoming days where there's, a fucking gay man with a hammer rolling through the neighborhood at your house. I don't know even why you would drop this story into the world at this point.
That's weird.
It is. Next up, TikTok has been banned in Montana. Did not hear about this, actually. Montana officially became the first state to ban TikTok on Wednesday after Governor Greg Gianforte, signed a bill restricting downloads of the immensely popular social media app into law. The legislation, which was passed in April, makes it illegal for app stores to give users the option to download TikTok, and also illegal for the company to operate within the states. The law is likely to face challenges in court, arguing it restricts free speech. But the governor praised the bill's privacy protections. He says the Chinese Communist Party using TikTok to spy on Americans, violate their privacy, and collect their personal, private, and sensitive information is well documented. And it's the most decisive action in any state.
Now, do you think anybody in America doesn't know that?
That China owns this thing?
Correct. There's been a 2-year controversy now where it's almost been banned at the federal level. It has been regulated for government devices at the federal level. It's been in the news for literally 2 years. Ups and downs. Oracle almost bought ByteDance, so on and so forth.
They were in front of Senate, remember?
Oh, yeah.
What was that, 3 months ago?
Yeah. So, again, I have to ask why a politician has the right to tell Americans what's best for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I can look, politicians and government administrators have accidentally, through their own incompetence, given my information to China on 2 separate occasions, including my DNA, by the way. And now I've given my DNA to quite a few Chinese people after that.
Yeah. In retaliation, obviously.
Well,
yeah, that place won't deliver here anymore.
It sure won't.
What
Sure
place?
Chinese food spot.
Yeah, well,
Those delivery boys keep showing up and then
It wasn't boys, but yeah. So TikTok's calling the bill unlawful, obviously, blah blah blah. But honestly, this is coming from conservatives. Why the fuck are conservatives getting the fucking government to ban things? I don't understand that. And I'm not talking about child pornography and shit. Like it is a Chinese. This is fucking Chinese. This product, this phone, is made in China, and it has an active microphone on it, listening to everything you're fucking saying right now.
Right.
Let's stop pretending like any of this fucking matters. This is fucking stupid. So they use this reality of life to further restrict your personal life and what you are allowed to do. That's what it is. And by the way, Twitter is a really good source of fast news, sometimes comprehensive news and conversation about something that's happening that's outside of the media apparatus and outside of government control, at least to some degree. I mean, governments try to control it quite a bit. For people who are 35 to 55, right? What I hear from kids, and people have been posting about it a lot on Twitter since the story broke, is that the 18 to fucking 30-year-old crowd is getting their news, their daily news, from TikTok, instead of Twitter, because that's just the platform they're on.
Yeah. So
that's effectively what's happening now. Montanans now don't have the ability to get non-corporate fucking news. This is never the solution to these problems, is to have the government ban stuff.
Yeah, with this one in particular, I just assume that we're being tracked, traced, all the other shits throughout the world. So I just stopped caring years ago. The other part too of this, if you're this guy who's fucking super amped about this from Montana, how are you supposed to attract the youth vote if like you said, you're getting most of the news from TikTok these days, which is true. Younger voters and stuff like that. That's not going to help your cause in the next election. So. Who are you hoping to help out here? I guess it's strange, and I think this is why Biden punted on this a while back. Remember when he first got into office, he wanted to ban it.
Well, they did ban it on government machines,
right?
But yeah,
but
so
they didn't ban it. Yeah, but they didn't ban it nationally because I think it would have, pissed off most young voters. This is certainly what this is going to do. Now the question is, who's going to do it next? And it's probably Texas. It's probably wheelchair, right?
Maybe, I don't know, but I would caution against that.
I agree, but that guy doesn't care. This guy doesn't fucking care. So we'll see what happens here. So what does it do? Track if you're inside the state, and if you're inside the state, it'll just shut the app off or delete off your phone? How does that work?
Well, I mean,
exactly?
it'll be up to TikTok to decide that, right?
How so?
Well, the government will tell them that it's illegal for them to operate there. I don't think the government has the ability to put measures in place to stop them, but they'll subpoena their records to see if people are downloading from the App Store or connecting to their app from Montana.
Yeah, because I know it exists, right? I use YouTube TV, for example. Last night, we were watching the playoffs on the way to a concert. And my kid had it up in the car, and it says, hey, we noticed you're not in the zip code that you're registered. So, I mean, it knew that I wasn't at my house. And they were like, are you visiting somewhere? And you click the yes, I'm visiting temporarily, and then it'll allow you to watch the stuff. I would imagine there's something on the back end of this where it's like, hey, what's your zip code? Sorry, this doesn't fucking work anymore. Now, does Montana install that or TikTok? I don't know the answer.
Montana doesn't. They can't track your fucking movements.
Okay.
That would be illegal, but TikTok can because you're opting into the platform.
How do they do it for gambling?
It's
great question.
It's based on your so yeah, it's based on geolocation using an IP address.
I would assume it'd be roughly the same, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because like things like DraftKings, what everybody bitches about with like DraftKings is they're like, oh, hey, it's available in 6 states. It's the second you go across state line, it shuts off.
Sort of, unless you've got ExpressVPN. Then you can do whatever
or
the
an
fuck
account.
you want.
Yeah. I think if you have an account and a home address and ID registered in a state that it's legal in, you are allowed to use the app outside of the state.
All right. Well, go to expressvpn.com/Drinkin Bros. $7 a month. You can use whatever fucking apps you want or steal some from overseas. It's great.
That Japanese Netflix
Watch porn
is
at
so
work.
good.
I know. The BBC.
It's not. There's no way it is.
It is. They're licking assholes over there.
I'm licking assholes here.
Yeah, but not on television, man. I mean, they're
You don't
doing it
know that?
through a hole.
Wait until you see the new Hard AF ad.
Wait until you see
coming up
Dan's
soon.
manga he's writing.
I don't even know what manga is.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's Japanese anime. It's torture porn, but in a classy way. I don't know.
Well, speaking of film, this last story is pretty incredible.
Is it
about the Titanic?
Titanic.
Well, I mean, it's so James Cameron did that whole project where they were trying to lift it. They weren't able to get it off the seabed, but they did.
The footage was awesome. They took a submarine down there, this little yellow one, and they got amazing.
So that was the original thing. Now they've taken over 700,000 pictures of it and put them into whatever kind of fucking software you do this with, and made a massive 3D view of the entire ship.
Oh shit!
On the
I haven't seen
ocean
this.
floor.
Pop it up,
It's
Bob.
fucking incredible.
Is this it here, Bob?
Yeah. No, don't play any of the videos yet. Go to the actual link.
Yeah, I would like to see this. I haven't seen it. I watched the original doc with James Cameron. That was awesome.
And that's how long it took him to do this, because I think that was 2013 when he started this project, right? When they started actually taking pictures.
It might have been well, pictures, yes, but video I think might have been the 90s.
So this scan was taken in last year over the summer by Magellan Limited, a deep sea mapping company, and I think it is. They're making a documentary about it now, so there will be a new documentary about this. But look at this shit.
God
like
damn.
They took over 700,000 pictures and assembled them, kind of the same way that we take pictures with a telescope and then put them all together.
Yeah.
So it's showing like different parts of the. Is this the video that Joel made?
You want me to which video do you want me to play?
This one's awesome.
This is
either way, all
let
this shit's cool.
Just let
as
this play
fuck,
for a
man.
minute, because these images are goddamn incredible.
Man, that's wild.
Yeah, so it's showing you where all the parts are. And by the way, I don't know if you've seen that picture before of the Titanic next to a modern cruise ship, but it's like maybe 1/5 of the size, so it's not that big. Now they said it couldn't be sank, but here it is.
That's is that DiCaprio too next to it?
Well, it's interesting that you ask, because these are incredible images and video and stuff that they put together. A lot of hard work that went into this. Fake News has actually received some additional video of the wreckage that no one else has seen yet. Yeah, you can go ahead and play that, Bob.
Wow, would you look at that? The once beautiful Titanic. The unsinkable ship. Guess it was sinkable after all. Or yes, the bowel of the ship. Lots of parties and late-night sexual affairs going on after hours at this location. But of course, the grand staircase, a once magnificent hall filled with rich fucks. But little did we know about the naughty things going on below deck. Luckily for you, our advanced, super, scientific scientists have analyzed these masterful new images, and can finally find out the truth about Rose and Jack from James Cameron's film, Titanic. As you can see, the real-life version of the character from this poorly made film was way too fucking fat. If she would have lost some weight and not been such a fat cunt like Lizzo, Jack might still be alive. But just like the other stupid fat Americans on the Titanic, Rose loved to eat chocolate cake. And therefore, everyone died.
Man, I liked Rose the way she was. She's got heavies, and I like the whole shit, dude.
Yeah,
I love Rose's fat ass. I do.
Here's the issue with that though. Like, people had to die.
Yeah.
And it's not fair. Like, she could have stopped eating at any point. Kate Winslet is a fat piece of shit murderer.
Never had sex with Kate Winslet, and we won't be able to determine whether or not it was worth it.
Well, Jack did. He was the one that died.
Yeah, and he was willing to risk his life for dad ass.
Yeah, but haven't you've made that mistake before where you offer to do or absorb something for somebody where you were just trying to be polite and they were rude enough to accept your offer?
Yeah.
And then you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck. I think Arrested Development did it once where Jason Bateman's character was like, finds out that What's-Her-Nuts is pregnant. Mm-hmm. Maggie Lizer, I think her name is.
Yeah, Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah, Julia Louis-Dreyfus finds out she's pregnant, and he's like, yeah, I always thought of myself as the kind of guy that would raise somebody else's kid. And then she's like, oh, great, and hugs him, and he's like, what the fuck did I just say?
Yeah.
That's stupid. No, don't do that. You murder that kid. Look, we're in the wild here, folks. You kill that first kid, right? And then you fucking have more.
There's
afterwards.
something about Kate Winslet, dude. I think the risk was worth it.
I mean, put
for
this back
DiCaprio.
up there and see this. If she's on the right as a normal sized woman, you could put 3-4 people in that door.
No, but if she's a normal sized woman, I don't think you fuck her. I don't know that that's necessarily
on the left. She's basically Shrek's girlfriend.
I don't think you're risking it all though for the girl on the right. I think you're risking it all for the girl on the left because that's a fucking good time.
Well, no one wants, a surfboard like Taylor Swift, for example. Nobody wants that.
She's
disgusting.
She's well defined.
She's definitely not. She has no ass, and if whatever titties she has are not even real.
But that's life though. Bobert's the same, and but she does have athletic thighs, and she's hot.
There's got to be a middle ground somewhere, right? Where, you don't take up the entire door.
Look. To each his own out there, and if you got a big girl that likes some chocolate cake, dude, cheers to you. Ask DiCaprio, he risked it all.
They'll keep you warm in the
Literally,
wintertime.
he died.
For sure.
He fucking died for her. So it must have been bomb ass pussy, dude. That's all I'm gonna say.
Who else? Who's Kate Winslet been married to in real life?
Huge director. Fuck.
Sam Mendes.
Yeah, Mendes. That's it.
Who?
Sam Mendes. Yeah.
Sam Mendes, American Beauty, fucking all the good Daniel Craig, James Bond movies.
He's won every Oscar there
And now
is.
she's married to Edward Abel Smith. Who's that?
I don't know who that is. Pop up Edward Abel Smith. Anybody with 3 names, though, is a serial killer.
his great grandparents have Wikipedia pages, so I'm guessing he's just a rich dude.
Oh shit, dude!
Yeah.
If the great grandparents have a Wikipedia
Oh boy,
page,
this is a good looking guy.
let's see him. Pop him up.
Oh, he's got a weird head.
Let's
When
pop him
did
up
they
on
get
screen.
divorced?
That's so. Find
Holy
some other.
shit! It looks like Billy Zane, dude, from Titanic.
Find
All right,
some.
he looks a little more.
Find some other
yeah,
pictures
never
of
mind.
him because he looks like he might be like 5th generation royalty.
Yeah, never mind. He looks like he's
Hey,
the result of
Gav!
many cousins being
Yeah,
fucked.
he could buy all of us in an hour. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Just
I mean, if he
based
can
on this
figure out the
picture.
math, yeah.
This guy's rich as fuck, dude.
Oh yeah, certainly.
Something's going down.
His great grandparents are knights, so yeah, I would think so.
You know what's funny, man? When actresses get older, they go for the money in the end. Salma Hayek's married to a billionaire. I mean, just a fucking billionaire. She's Salma Hayek, for Christ's sakes. You know?
And
she
Dez
could have picked
isn't
anybody.
Really good looking either.
By the way,
No,
Actually,
he's not. But he was the best director of that time when they got married.
Yeah, he did 1917 Jarhead.
Yeah, dude, he did all that shit. I mean, that was the best director there was at that time.
Who was Sam Mendes?
Yes.
He's one of the, he's real good. One of his ancestors, I guess, great grandparents died in World War One.
It would have. I thought you were going to say died on the Titanic, and I was like,
no.
"Fucking!"
I'm sure quite a few
game over.
people's grandparents.
Game over. The sim
Died
world
there.
would have been complete if he died on the Titanic. Yeah.
By the way, Sam Brinton, remember that guy?
Yeah.
Got arrested today for being a fugitive from justice. So I guess he never showed up to his court appearances.
No shit. All right. Well, it happens.
Just a quick update.
It happens. Now's the point of the show where we get to the Drinkin' Bro of the week. You can go to drinkinbros.com and click on the submission form, and it gets emailed to us live on air. Or if you're in the studio, you can just come up and give it away live on air. Come on up, sir. Welcome to the show here. Plus, if you're in the Austin area, while you're here, you can just get rocked all day off of Hard AF seltzers for free. Have some good food down here in Austin, Texas, and enjoy it. You might be the first redhead dude we've ever had on the show.
I was wondering that same thing.
Yeah, you got to
have to fumigate when I leave.
Do the carpet match the drapes down there? You got red pubes?
Oh, well, of course.
I didn't know.
I'm natural.
Okay, I didn't know. If
I
you
mean,
dyed
who would want this on purpose?
I don't know.
Right?
I don't know. Right? Do you ever curse God or your parents and be like, why did you do this?
Interestingly enough, I'm the only one. So
really,
up until I got my parents the 23andMe for Christmas, I wasn't 100% sure that they were my parents.
Shit. That's wild, man.
Yeah.
And what was the excuse? Did you say, hey, guys, like, is this real? Or did mom have an affair?
Oh, apparently way back on my mom's side.
There was a red?
Yeah.
Man, that weird gene just kind of cut
escaped.
through there. All right. You're pulling it off, though.
Yeah, thank you.
You're a good-looking dude, so everything worked out. Usually redheads, man, they're fucking weird looking.
They are. No, I mean, it's a tough thing to
it is.
be a
but you're
redhead
fine.
in this
Like
world,
you look like
so
a normal person.
If I'm average at anything, then I feel like I'm ahead of the game.
Yeah,
for sure.
And then the next phase is whenever you go gray, right? Then nobody knows you were a ginger at any point, right? They're just like, all right.
Interestingly enough, I think it takes longer for redheads to go gray.
No shit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 48, and I'm just starting to get it here.
Wow.
So
that's amazing. Fucking A. All right. Maybe there's some advantages. What's your name?
Brian.
What's your last name?
Lightwine.
There you go. That's a great last name. You married?
Yeah.
Is there a Mrs. Lightwine?
Yes, and actually she was supposed to be here, and I know that she would absolutely want to be here to see all this because it's really cool, but she got called away. She's a pilot, so.
No shit.
Yeah.
God damn. That's a cool job. What are we talking, commercial or military?
Southwest.
Southwest? No shit.
Yeah,
right.
and she always appreciates when you kind of back Southwest.
Does she listen to the show?
Oh, yeah.
All right, good.
Yeah, more than me.
I'm going to put this out into the universe then, all right?
Okay.
We got kids, so we're going to, like I said at the top of the show, we're going to Tampa Bay to the Rowdies game on Saturday night, May 27th. We're in section MF7 down there, so join us for that. And on the 28th, we're going to the Rays game, and we're in section 110 there. However, because it is Memorial Day weekend and my kids are off Monday, I'm taking that night flight, my wife and I, out of there that night to go back for our kids after the game. It's on Southwest. That's why I'm telling you this now. So if she's got anything to do with that flight from Austin to Tampa, or Tampa to Austin.
She might.
Is she flying that?
I don't know right now. Like she's
it's the 7:55 flight.
She's on her way from Long Beach to Las Vegas, probably literally right now.
Okay.
Because she texted me just when you were finishing up RPR.
All right, because me, Jesse, and Joel are on that night flight back. So tell her not to fuck that up.
Yeah.
I think Jesse's flying out that morning. It's the only nonstop that's available. So because of our time schedule and all, everything, all the events and shit we have to do. It's the only flight we can get, so if Southwest fucks that up, dude, it's gonna be no buoyance,
Yeah.
All
so
right.
far, so good. I mean, she hasn't been involved in any snafus or anything. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Let her know, dude. That's the flight we're on. Don't fuck that up on Sunday night, 7:55.
Hopefully, she'll be watching this at some point.
Exactly.
Coming up.
Exactly. Who do you want to give the Drinkin' Bro of the Week to?
I'm gonna split it between my wife and my best friend. His name is Craig Vanis. Just one of those guys that, like, when we were growing up, always looked up to him. He was, pivotal in just kind of me developing and none of us had any brothers. Like all my friends, like we're just all single boys. Like had sisters and everything, but nobody had brothers. So we kind of banded together. My friend, him, and a couple other guys. And he's just one of those. He's a really good family man. Always a rock. Been there for me. And then my wife, obviously, like later in life, I met her later. We've only been married for almost 3 years, been dating for almost 10.
Oh, shit.
And,
why did you wait so long? That seems crazy.
It was the strangest thing. I met her after my first year of med school, and so she had to go through that, and then she had to go through residency, and then finally it was just like, we got to do this because got to start, consolidating before.
Yes. That's way too long at that point.
Yeah.
You got kids?
No.
Okay.
No kids.
Do you want to?
I don't. It's a little late in the game. I mean, if it was something that she wanted to do, or like if it just happened or something like that, it wouldn't be a bad thing.
Yeah.
But so far it hasn't.
Being a pilot's rough though.
That's what it is too, because she's got to stop flying
and that's probably she probably loves it. That's amazing because there's not a lot of female pilots out there.
No. Last count, I think when she was at this Women in Aviation conference, there was like 1,000 of them.
Yeah, that was it.
So yeah, very few.
Cheers, man. Well, thanks for coming in today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We enjoyed it. It's pretty crazy, right?
Yeah, it's a great. So this used to be a church?
Yeah. This is a fucking Pentecostal church. You believe that shit? So where we're at right now, in relation to the church, this was the stage that he used to fucking preach on. So like literally right here. Yeah. It was this black dude. I rolled in one night and because I didn't know there was black preachers for Pentecostal. And maybe that's just me being dumb because I know nothing about religion. But I walked in. They had, I think, 3 months left on the lease. And so we'd taken over because we owned both of these buildings, right? And so I came in to get the rent check in the middle of this fucking sermon. And the Lord says you got to rise. And it was identical to that. Like, I'm not saying this for TV, but
like the one from Coming to America,
100%.
Arsenio would...
And so I was like, and I walked in, and I'm dressed like this, and I'm in, and like he had an assistant who was helping out with the scoreboard of the jumbotron behind us here with hymns and stuff, and I was like, hey, she's like, oh, are you the? And I was like, yeah, we own the building, whatever. And she's like, I'll give you the check. They were the nicest people of all time, and so she gives me the check, and then she goes, do you want to stay? And I was like, are you asking me because you think I need to?
Right.
Or, I need to.
What do you know that I don't?
Yeah, right. And she was like, isn't this amazing? And I was like, yeah, it's amazing. I was like, I ain't gonna go to the gym or something, And at that point, it was like at 8:30 at night. I was clearly not going.
How many people were in the
Not many.
audience?
It was maybe 14 or 15 that were in here. Decent,
yeah.
But, not enough to, in my opinion, I don't know how many days a week they did it, but not enough to run it, I guess. So.
Right.
But they were always polite. They always paid on time and everything else. So I don't have a bad word to say about them, but we obviously had to get rid of the snake pit.
Yeah.
Had to get that out of here. Because that was a thing.
That
was a thing.
That'd be tough.
And the only thing that remains is this. That's it. So everything else we nuked out, and it took, 6-8 months or whatever it is.
No windows? Were there windows originally? Or?
No windows. We got those 2 glass doors there, but that's why we wanted this in particular is for production. We couldn't have the lights in anyway, so we would end up covering up the windows to keep everything in, or else the light would be all fucked up in here. So it worked out great for what we were looking for, and we just happened to get it. But that's why we leave the doors open all the time for anybody to come in and listen and watch the show. It's because you guys built this place, so it's like, hey, come on in. Drinks are on us, and let's have some fun. So cheers, man. Thanks for being here today.
Yes.
We greatly appreciate it. And at home, if you can't make it to the studio, again, just go to drinkinbros.com, click on the submission form. It'll go directly to us. While you're there, we've got merch for sale. Buy that. It helps support the show. And then obviously buy the Hard AF Seltzer. That helps support the show as well. And we'll see you guys in Tampa in a week. Please go to iTunes, rate the show 5-star, and leave a quick review. Also, head on over to Spotify. It's just a 5-star, and you can walk away. Get us to 10,000 reviews, and I'll shut the fuck up over there forever. I promise you. For D'Anthony Holloway, I'm Ross Patterson. This is Drinkin' Bros Fake News.